This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
You know, I tell you guys all the time about Cutter's Edge Pro, man, and what they did with our backyard and made it a pure oasis. That's our Sylvester tree right there. A beautiful day, providing a ton of sunshine. We've got one exactly like this out in the front yard, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There's Bono hanging around on the artificial turf. What's up, Bono? What's the word, baby? There you go, wagging that little tail. Maiden, there she is. Ziggy. How you doing, Ziggy? There you go. So we got the doggies hanging out. So just want to give you a little, we got some of the trees starting off from this way with the artificial turf. You see, there's Ziggy again, of course. Got it all the way. And look, we got some flowers coming out. That tree now will start to also spring, and it's absolutely beautiful too. So got all that, they can do all kinds of things for you in your backyard to kind of make it an oasis, which is what we've done. And obviously the dogs can play. What's up, Bono? I got him there hanging out. Maiden, there she is. There she is, the one and only. She's mean as a skunk, by the way. Just want you to know. She's awesome with us, but I mean, if you're a stranger, you don't want to meet Maiden. So as you can see, and then the artificial turf, remember, there's no watering. There's no cutting the grass. It looks fabulous like this the entire time. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. Back here in this corner is where we put the barbecue. I wheel it out, cook, then I wheel it back in. See, looks beautiful, doesn't it? Flowers are coming out. It's awesome. And then when I want to play a little golf, there's my putting green down the side, which is a beautiful thing. There's one of the holes all the way to the other side where Bono is at. All lights up. It's really beautiful when it lights up. See, we got the rough. Got several. Got one on that side. Got one over there in the corner where Bono's leaving. Got rough all over the place, man. Just in case, you get the ball trapped in there. That's it. That's another swing. Right, Maiden? So, check it out, cuttersedgepro.com. Make your home an oasis. Make your business, your HOA complex, condominium, you name it, they got you, bro. They do it all. All right? They can cut your trees down, and the artificial turf, I swear by it. Really easy to maintain, and it looks just absolutely freaking beautiful. Cutter's Edge Pro. Right, Ziggy?
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane, Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Alrighty, good morning, boys and girls. Ready to rock and roll. Victory Cigar Monday. Yeah, baby, come on. We got to light up that Victory Cigar because we got a lot of cigars that we got to light up today, right? We got to light one up for the Heat, right? Let's light it up for the Heat. We got to light one up for the Panthers, maybe the biggest playoff win in South Florida history. We got to light it up for the Miami Marlins, who swept the Chicago Cubs. I love it. And we got to light it up for Inter Miami. Ring the bell. Campana is back. He's healthy. Please, kid, stay healthy. Okay? I mean, you see the difference with Campana out there, right? Martinez is a disaster. It was a terrible signing. We need Campana anyway. So lots of great stuff this weekend, man. What the Panthers did is amazing. The Miami Heat on the road in New York. And then, obviously, to a lesser extent, the Marlins and Inter Miami. I'm an all sports guy, so I'm a different animal. I'm not one of those guys that slams really any sport. I love all sports because that's kind of the way I was raised, to like all sports. So I've always been into everything. And personally, for me, it was a fun weekend. I know nobody gives a shit about the Marlins, but it was fun to watch them win those one-run games and then Inter. So. But what the Panthers did was just, I mean, you're talking about a team that had the greatest regular season of all time. And you were down 3-1 in that series. You're down 3-2 in that series. You're down by a goal with a minute left. I mean, it's just awesome to be able to overcome all of that. And we're going to get Ira Winderman on now in a couple minutes here. And by the way, I just want to remind the Knicks, and I want to remind everyone else, okay, this isn't a rivalry. Knicks Heat are not a rivalry. It hasn't been a rivalry for 20 years. The Knicks haven't mattered. They haven't been relevant. This is just a bunch of hype. Okay, it's a fun matchup. Let's say that. But the Knicks haven't mattered in forever, dude. And in order for anything to become a rivalry, both sides have to win. Okay, so look, I get it, man. In this world, it's almost like a sin to call things the way they are. We want to manufacture bullshit and create stuff and all. The Knicks do not matter at all. Okay? They are now trying to matter in this world. They had some success last year. They're having some success this year, but they're nothing. And this isn't a rivalry either. None of these players have anything to do with the real Heat-Knicks rivalry. They've never been part of a back and forth. They've never been part of nastiness. That's why they had to show all the clips from the past. This is now starting to see if they create a rivalry. The Heat have been around for 25 years. They've mattered in the NBA since Pat Riley walked through the doors. The Knicks have never mattered throughout that time. They're like the Dolphins of the last 20 years. They might pop up with a season here or a season there, but they don't matter. So that's the one thing that I was kind of like, enough already. You know what I mean? I know what a rivalry looks like. Knicks Heat are not a rivalry. Okay? Until the Knicks actually start winning things, then maybe they can become a rivalry. First, let's see if they're actually even worthy of attention. The only reason they get attention now is because they come from New York, where you blow things up to levels that it's not really the reality. And that's what these Knicks are. They're not the reality. So let's, when they start winning some series against Miami for a couple of years, then maybe we could start calling it a rivalry. But for now, please, enough already. I mean, it's just ridiculous how we have to force shit when it's not there. And look what happened when it's all said and done. Ira Winderman next.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines. Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
All righty, there he is, locked and loaded. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Not as angry as you about this whole New York thing.
It's just so silly. There is no.
You know what? There's two things. The rivalry is silly because it's more than 20 years ago. Bam was 3. Tyler wasn't born. But I will say this: the NBA is in a better place when the Lakers and the Knicks matter. And the fact is, and I got to tell you, I have been to so many Heat Knicks games over the last, I don't know, I'd say decade or so, where there were more Heat fans in that building. And last night, yesterday afternoon, that building was electric. And if you can generate that and people know what the Garden is like, it means everything. So when you look at the teams, there's so many of the NBA's sort of it teams around still. The Warriors, the Lakers, the Sixers, the Celtics, the Heat, the Knicks. That's a very good thing for this league right now. I think that's what matters about the Knicks. What matters about the Knicks is they're at New York.
Winning. They have to really start winning for a few years before we actually, because right now it's just a novelty. It's nothing. They're really nothing in the NBA landscape. They haven't earned anything. The only reason they get thrusted forward so much, it's because of the media market, not because of anything else. And that's just, to me, the part that's silly. Oh, the rivalry. Not one player on either team is part of any kind of rich history of Heat Knicks. Come on, man. Let's just relax with all that stuff. It's just silly. But I got to say, obviously, look, Jimmy, we almost take him for granted in what he does. But, Gabe Vincent, I got to give him a lot of love. He didn't shoot at a great percentage, yesterday, but he did hit key baskets, and he's been monstrous for over a month now. We've talked about it. And there's certain guys, Caleb Martin, I thought yesterday had an enormous block at the end of that game to kind of help seal that thing off. Lowry hit some shots. He actually played well yesterday. Jack Harlow even got a feel and everything. So it was an interesting game yesterday, and some guys did step up around. Yeah,
Jimmy. It's funny because I actually used your analogy that you don't like to sort of put it in perspective. No, Gabe Vincent, was not Tim Hardaway. No, Kevin Love was not PJ Brown. No, Caleb Martin was not Dan Marley. But they did those types of things when you needed them, because it was always about supporting Alonzo Mourning back in the day. It's about supporting Jimmy Butler right now. And it's that little nuanced efforts that can make such a difference in tight, competitive, close, ongoing NBA basketball series. So the Heat got really big on when you look through who the Heat played yesterday. They might have got some of the best of those players. Can they do it again? Kevin Love's 3 outlet passes set a tone in the game. I told Kevin Love this story after the game. I went to his locker. I said, I got to tell you, I used to do a radio show down here with a former Miami Dolphins player named Jim Mandich. When you were coming out in the draft, you were in the same draft class as Derrick Rose and Michael Beasley. And Jim Mandich told me when I was doing the show, he said, if we draft an outlet passer instead of one of these high-scoring guys, I'm going to kill someone, because Kevin Love is known for those outlet passes at UCLA. And I told him the story, and he goes, well, at least I made good on it then. So you know what? He's always had that skill. It's remarkable how just the flick of the wrist. I can imagine the strength in those hands of his. But he really turned the game in the third quarter when the Knicks were going to lock him down. We're not going to let him rebound. And all of a sudden the ball's going 3 straight passes at least 60 feet. So Kevin Love did his thing. Caleb Martin was Marley-like to a degree with the effort. Didn't have to give you the statistics. I even said you could almost put Kyle Lowry at 37 in the Terry Porter role. You know, the aging guy who had his success somewhere having his moments. But, Big O, is it sustainable? We'll see that tomorrow night.
Well, I mean, I think it's sustainable in this series because it's not like the Knicks are really that much better than the Miami Heat when they're playing well. And that's really the bottom line.
I agree. I agree.
You know, if we're talking about the Celtics and they have a great game against the Celtics in game 1, then I'm worried, can you maintain? Because that's a great team. You're not facing a great team. And I know they're missing Julius Randle, but hell, Miami's missing, Tyler Hero. Jimmy got banged up.
Yeah.
3 guys fouled out yesterday, right? Didn't guys foul out yesterday? So, they were at their own disadvantages throughout that game, and yet they found a way to overcome. And look, I don't want to lessen any kind of the accomplishments, but they've gotten the breaks that they need here. Giannis went down for 2 games. They did their part in all of this, and they ended up winning. Now you follow up here in this one. You're not facing, in the second round, a juggernaut. You're facing a decent team. You have a puncher's chance here again to win in this one. Well, you opened it up with a 1-0 lead. That's the beauty of this matchup here. This is not an insurmountable matchup. This isn't Boston and the Panthers that at every turn you're nervous about against the Bruins because you knew the Bruins were so damn good this year. You're like thinking, man, how in the hell are they going to hang with these guys? That's not what I'm thinking in this series.
Yes.
And that's why, it's if you have look, who's the best player on the court? Jimmy Butler. So in the NBA, if you usually have the best player on the court and then there's not that huge difference in the rest of the way, well, then you're going to have a chance. And that's exactly where they stand right now.
Yeah, no, and again, you're right about this series. Again, the Heat really found the path of least resistance. Giannis out for 2.5 games, coming in here against the number 5 seed. Like you said, the Knicks were a 5 seed. They're an average team. And there wasn't much separation between number 5 and number 8 or number 7, where the Heat finished in the standings in the first place. They were right there. So if the Heat beat the Knicks, it's not an upset. It's just not. It's just the second tier of the East all season. You were talking to me about Milwaukee and Boston and Philly as being separated themselves. The Heat had an upset, a legitimate upset in the first round. But if they beat the Knicks, or if they had played the Cavaliers and beaten the Cavaliers, not an upset. Second-tier teams in the East. Hey, if the Heat can get past this and they win another series against the Boston or Philly, then we can talk about the upstart team really making some noise with the completely unexpected. Unexpected is Heat over Bucks. Unexpected is Panthers over Celtics. Not unexpected is Heat over Knicks. I'm not so sure how unexpected Panthers over Maple Leafs would be right now with how the standings played out in the NHL also. So you got your upset. Now go and do your grunt work.
Okay, so now this whole other discussion has happened, and then there's only one problem I have with the discussion that people are having, that the Heat have never shown a DNA to ever do this kind of shit. So Jimmy Butler's injured. The ankle, somebody said that it looked like an avocado after the game. Did you see it? Did it look like an avocado?
You know what? That's just overstating so you can say, hey, I saw something, I posted it. Jimmy was walking fine after, but it's an ankle. And I was told by someone close to him this. You've got to know about the first 24 hours. You don't know anything right away. It's what happens after. Does it swell up and explode and you can't get your damn sneaker on, or can you move? Between you and me, Big O, if I had to guess right now as we're talking on our Accurate Pembroke Pines report, I'd say he could probably be listed as doubtful for Tuesday. You've got to be careful, and here's the other part of that equation. They're off Wednesday. They're off Thursday. They're off Friday. You got to be smart about this also, don't you?
Yes, but here's the problem I have with all of this.
Okay.
I totally understand the people that say, hold out Jimmy now, man. Maybe you could give him a game. Who knows? You surprise him, whatever. And then he gets almost a week off and he gets time and he gets more fresh for game 3. You already did what you had to do. All of that makes sense. but this is not an organization that does that. They usually don't have players that are willing to do that. You're not going to hold out Tim. You're not going to hold out Zoe. You're not going to hold out Wade. You're not going to hold out just the DNA of Jimmy Butler is balls out all the way. The DNA of Spo and Riley is balls out, all the way. So I get it. It does make a lot of sense. Hey, you did your damage. Hold them out. What the hell? Give them the rest. But knowing these people, it's like they go all out, man. And I'm just, would Jimmy really sit down?
I think he would. I think he would, the way he was feeling at the end of the game, knowing that he has a shot in this series, knowing that if he's right for 2 home games, he might be in a better position than going through a tight game, a 50-50 game on Tuesday, and then all of a sudden he doesn't have the rest. So I think he's going to be careful. Look, this is all trainers and medical as much as anything, as much as it is Jimmy also. We do know this. Jimmy has his own training staff. The Heat have their own training staff. They will do everything possible. And the good thing, Big O, you're going from an afternoon game to an evening game. So you get those extra 12 hours that you wouldn't have if we were talking late night like the Panthers last night. So you just have time. It's going to be one of these. You can see a lot of online speculation. I would be very, very surprised if a final decision is made any time before the pregame interviews tomorrow at Madison Square Garden.
I'm sure that ain't going to be made until game time, whether he plays or not. I'm sure they'll hold the Heat. Come on, bro. They keep everything secret. We still don't know what Green was high on in that lobby. I mean, they're just the best at this. Okay. All right. So what's your gut tell you?
My gut tells me right now, as we're talking, doing our accurate Pembroke Pines report, my gut tells me I think it's more than 50-50 he sits out. I just don't think you push that at this moment when you've regained home court to a degree and you feel comfortable enough. Now, what they have left, I can't tell you. I mean, it's not like they're turning to Tyler or turning to Vic, so that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, no, obviously this gets and then Julius Randle. What happens with Julius Randle? Because obviously they are going to need Julius Randle in order to win in this series.
Yeah, and again, remember, he got injured on March 29th against the Heat. So that's the difference. This isn't something that just happened in Game 5 against Cleveland. This has been ongoing. I don't think he's going to be right. Again, we hear the word ankle sprain. There's a high ankle sprain. There's degrees of ankle sprain. No 2 ankle sprains are the same. So to compare what Jimmy has to what Julius Randle has would be wrong also. But Julius Randle's been off now. We're talking about, 3 weeks? So it's not something where you've been off for 3 weeks and boom, you're going to come back and be yourself. I'll be very curious.
Sprains are super unstable.
Yeah. I would be curious to see what he looks like. I need to see what he looks like first before we go from there.
Yeah, and they have said it's a high ankle sprain, right?
They have not. If they said high ankle sprain, it'd be different. But again, they don't say much. It's better than hockey with upper body injury, but not that much better.
Yeah, but you're already telling me high ankle sprain when it's taking this long, because ankle sprains don't take this long.
Well, it depends what grade it is also. It depends on the grade of the sprain, yeah.
Yeah, but normally ankle sprains, they don't take this long at all. You would have been already back with a regular ankle sprain. If it's this, then it's a high ankle sprain, because that's the ones that become very unstable and you're very easily retwisting those things. Because I've had the high ankle sprains and they are just absolutely terrible overall. All right. Health-wise, everybody else all right?
Hewitt Highsmith was limping off the court at one point last night. The Heat didn't mention him at all in their injury report. They're not going to issue an injury report till about 5:30 today, so we have to wait on that. Look, no, everything is not all right. Kyle Lowry is still dealing with that knee pain. And, it's like people are asking me if Jimmy's out, could Kyle start? I don't think Kyle has that many minutes in him that you can make him a 40-minute player. So I think if Jimmy is out, you're probably going to turn to Caleb Martin. It's going to hurt your bench rotation. You're just running out of bodies at this time, and you need a go-to guy. And I'll tell you who else is hurting. I walked out after the game next to Bam Adebayo. That hamstring is bad. It wasn't like Fred Sanford for the older people in our crowd here, but he was not walking well. His gait was off. You could see he was dragging a leg. Again, this is not a guy who's complained about it. This is not a guy who's mentioned the hamstring unless asked and prefers not to be asked, but he's not 100%. He's not himself. And you can see that, Big O. He's fumbling the ball a little bit more. He's not as solid in his game. I believe this about Bam. He is doing everything he possibly can on that hamstring. I'm surprised it's not on the Heat injury report, but it is a real injury. And as much as you know about ankles, hamstrings can linger forever.
Oh yeah, no, those things apparently will last forever. Yeah, those are usually it's hard to get healthy from a hamstring in a season.
Well, or in weeks or months, let alone days. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially you're playing the game of basketball, which Jesus Christ,
right?
You live off your damn hamstrings every time. All right, are you expecting? You're expecting Caleb to start? Is what
I would
what
think if Jimmy can start? I mean, you could start Haywood Highsmith, I guess. I don't think you can start Kyle Lowry because I don't think he's up to starters minutes. No. I don't see Duncan Robinson and Max Strus starting against that Knicks lineup. Because then who the hell guards anyone? Duncan was not very good yesterday. 0 for 5 from the field, missed all 3 of his 3-point attempts. I think you can afford to have one of the two on the court. I'm not sure you can afford to have both. Now, Spo, he likes to keep his rotations. So he might like to keep Caleb in that bench role. But I think he would be the logical, quote unquote, next man up.
And by the way, the whole thing with Gabe starting and Lowry off the bench, that's exactly the way it should be right now at this point. Gabe has earned that right.
Yes.
He's developing really nicely into a point guard as it is. And clearly he's got every green light in the world, brother.
Well, you know what? Because he has Tyler Hero's green light and he has Victor Oladipo's green light, because there's not a lot of green lights to give out. I mean, look at this Heat starting lineup. Kevin Love is a one-trick pony with the threes. He's not going to force any dribble drives. Bam Adebayo and Jimmy are the two scorers, basically. Max is a specialist. There's plenty of shots there now for Gabe. Maybe he has to mix it up a little bit, but you know what? He kept his defender occupied, and that's what you want in that kind of matchup. Remember, when the playoffs started, Giannis Antetokounmpo was the defender against Gabe Vincent. Didn't guard him at all. He was a free safety. He was in the middle of the lane. So you can't put out someone there who's not a threat. Gabe made himself a threat last night.
I kind of like Gabe when he's set shooting the three.
Absolutely.
When it's kind of in motion and moving and he's got to, get it off quickly, it just doesn't seem like that's his shot. You know what I mean? But when he gets to get in a groove and stop and set and shoot, that's when you have a really good feeling that thing is
again, he's a 6'2" player. So you're just at a point right now where it's harder for him to create space.
All right, what do you got working on the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Well, it's interesting because I wrote about Gabe Vincent, just posted that at the Sun Sentinel. People forget last year he was the starting point guard in the playoffs also. Kyle went out against Atlanta. He stepped in. When that series was over, Trae Young basically said, who the hell is that guy? He's pretty damn good. And so I spoke to Kyle alone on the side and him saying, all the experience I got last year is paying off now. Because until you're in the playoffs, you don't realize what the playoffs are all about. And now we can see the difference that it's making. In my Ask Ira, I wrote about how the Heat absolutely have to be prudent with Jimmy Butler. Like you said, Big O, even if they have to fight him and his people, they have to do the best for whatever it takes to get 4 total wins in this series against the Knicks. I'm not being like Giannis. We're saying they were going for a championship instead of trying to win each game. I'm not saying the Heat are looking ahead, but you have to look out for how can we get the best Jimmy Butler to produce 3 more wins. I think that's the decision today. I think that's the decision tomorrow.
Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up again. Appreciate you.
Catch you on our next Acura Pembroke Pines report. Thanks, Big O.
You got it.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig's Inn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All right. And don't forget Essential Moving Experts. Great people. Sean Williams and all the amazing people there at Essential Moving Experts. If you're looking to move your home, looking to move your office building, whatever it is, the entire warehouse, Essential Moving Experts can do it for you. And by the way, if you're moving like from one home to another, but the new home is almost being finished up in construction, you still got another week or 2 or maybe a month left, You know, Essential Moving Experts will actually hold all of your possessions up to a month on the house in their warehouse. So it doesn't matter where you're moving from New York to California. Actually, there's a lot more people moving from California to everywhere else. But hey, wherever it is, man, within the state to state, from county to county, home or business, Central Moving Experts is there for you. Call Sean and the great people. 386 213 4054. That's 386 213 4054. EssentialMovingExperts.com. All right. For those of you that are asking, my man Sean is still hurting, and he is still in the hospital, unfortunately. And he hopefully will be out. I'm hoping today or tomorrow. We're hoping soon. And hopefully we'll get him back here as soon as possible. So thanks to all of you that are sending in your concerns. And we're all concerned. Obviously, we want Sean to get healthy as soon as possible. So let's hope so, man. I know he's probably watching right now from the hospital bed as it is. Eric Arguelles, number one in. That's a new number one there. What a wonderful morning. He'd take a 1-0 lead on New York. The Panthers upset the Bruins. The Finns added some new talent, and the Marlins 3 games above 500. Coño. Brian Walters is in. Big, great weekend for Miami teams, Heat, Panthers, and Marlins. That was a nice goal in overtime, right over the goalie's head. Yep. And we got to add Inter Miami. I know some of you don't care about that, but I love my Inter Miami. Alejandro Moliner says, good morning, we are hoping that Sean is doing better. Driving to Illinois, listening to your show. What an awesome weekend. Yes, thank you. Sean is doing a little better. We just need to get him out of the hospital and get him back on the show. Brooklyn Rob is in the house. Chucky was the difference in this series. Barkov needed a Batman. Go Panthers. Yes. Kachuk, Bennett, what's it called? Verhage. There's just a lot of guys that played some big time moments in this game. The Listerine guy, I forgot how Lusterin or whatever the guy's name is. I mean, his goal the other night was just amazing. Just all kinds of players that have really, contributed to the win. Bob has had his moments. He's had a couple that you're like, I wish you didn't let that one in, but he had some good saves. He had one in that overtime that was huge. Had one too late in the third, also important. Jamie Zorria is in the house. He says he hopes Sean's feeling better and recovering well. Great weekend for South Florida sports teams. Steve Chapman is in. He says, sorry, the Panthers can't compete with my Bruins. Hang in there, Steve. He says, I'm nervous about the Heat, too. If they get past the Knicks and the Celtics beat Philly, Miami could definitely win that series because Butler has more dog in him than all the Celtics combined. Hey, man, right now the Heat are playing with house money. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter right now. They beat the Bucks. I mean, what more do we want, Now they're already one up on the Knicks. Beating the Knicks is, and remember, this is like, I was thinking about this. Okay. Not only do the Knicks not matter at all, not only is this not a rivalry at all. Okay. This hasn't been a rivalry in 20 years. The Knicks have been the dregs of the NBA. They don't matter. They're a nothing franchise. They just come from New York City, where they blow shit up for no reason at all, and they blow it up more than it should be blown up. Okay? This Heat team is not even in the top 15 of Heat teams of all time. So put it this way. The Knicks are nothing. Okay? They've been nothing for 2 decades. They don't mean anything. They are not relevant in the NBA. They're trying to become relevant. You don't become relevant just because you popped into the playoffs for 2 years. Okay? You got to start winning things and winning series, and not just one, but several, to start to actually matter in this world. The Knicks don't matter. Okay? And more importantly, they're not even facing a really good Heat team. They're facing one of our so-so Heat teams. Okay? This isn't a championship caliber team or anything along those lines. I could come up with a crap ton of Heat teams that are better than this one. Like I told you, I could come up. There are 15 Heat teams easily that are better than this one. So, give me a break. It's just, this isn't even a great Heat squad we're sending to the playoffs in the last 25 years. This might rank around 15 or 18 or something of the kind of teams that the franchise is sending to the playoffs. For the Knicks, this is their best team in 20 years. See what I'm trying to say? Huge difference, right? This is the best team the Knicks can come up with in 20 years. Okay? This Heat team would struggle to crack the top 15 Heat teams in the last 25 years for Pat Riley. This team's not even close to most of those Zoe and Timmy teams. Obviously not the Shaq and Wade teams for 2 years. Obviously not the big three for 4 years. I mean, this is so behind so many Heat teams. This team might not even be better than the one that was in the bubble. Okay? Knicks, you don't matter, bro. You don't matter whatsoever. You're a fly on a stack of shit. That's what you are, dude. You mean nothing in this league. So when you start actually accomplishing things, if you accomplish things over the next couple of years, then maybe you can start to matter now. But if you're not really winning series and getting deep into the playoffs and maybe getting to an Eastern Conference Finals, maybe getting to a Finals, maybe winning the Eastern Conference, maybe winning the Finals, I mean, you don't matter, bro. You're just a novelty that just made the playoffs. Okay? So, New York, let's put your ass in your place where you belong. Okay? Because, we have too many fluff writers, fluff people on television telling you that this is a rivalry. And you know why? Because maybe they don't want to hurt your feelings. But Heat Knicks are not a rivalry. Okay? You first got to matter and win before you can actually be a rival. You don't win shit. You don't matter. You can't be a rival of anybody whatsoever. Okay? You and the Nets are rivals. Which shitty New York team can actually make the playoffs and maybe even make an impact in the playoffs? That's your rival. To see which one of you can get out of the sewer with the rats in New York. That's your rival there. But the Heat, brother, you're the Heat's bitch. Please. Okay? You're the Heat's bitch. That's what it is. Nothing more and nothing less. So that's the truth there, New York. Live with it, baby. Anyway, Jamie Zorria's in the house. Cap for Life is in the house. Are you wrong for saying the Dolphins had an A+ draft? Did you know that? This was one of the great drafts of all time for the Dolphins. This was a great, great, great draft for the Miami Dolphins. A+. A++++. Yeah. I mean, let's go. You want to go over the draft? Okay. They got Bradley Chubb in the first round. They got Cam Smith in the second round. They got Jalen Ramsey in the third round. They got Devon Achane in the third round. They got Tyreek Hill in the fourth round. They got Jeff Wilson Jr. in the 5th round. They got Elijah Higgins in the 6th and Ryan Hayes in the 7th. Do you want to know exactly what they did with each one of their draft picks? That's what they did with their draft picks. Last time I checked, that's very productive. That's incredibly productive that Jalen Ramsey was here for a 3rd rounder, that Jeff Wilson's here for a 5th rounder, that 4th rounder was used as part of the Tyreek Hill trade, that you got yourself a pass rusher in Bradley Chubb with your 1st rounder. Sounds to me like, and if Cam Smith plays the way I'm being told he can play, then he becomes the guy that takes over for X. That sounds pretty freaking productive if that ends up happening. But this was a great draft for the Miami Dolphins. They did a lot of productive stuff with those picks. And by the way, their 2 idiot owners cost them a 1st and a 3rd. So they should be adding a 1st and a 3rd to this draft class right here. We should have had 2 more draft picks to this, thanks to our idiot owners, thanks to the Pillsbury Doughboy and the other idiot, BB and Pillsbury, who cost us a 1st and a 3rd. Well, Greer, Allen, and McKenzie could have done more damage. But even taking away their 1st and a 3rd, Chubb, Cam Smith, Jalen Ramsey, Devon A-Chain, Tyreek Hill, Jeff Wilson Jr., Elijah Higgins, and Ryan Hayes, I'll take that. I'll take that draft every day of the week and twice on Sundays. I'm good with that. You're going to get me Chubb, Ramsey, and Jeff Wilson. Those are guys that I know are going to make an impact. Chubb's got his defensive coordinator in town. Jalen Ramsey's ready to ball out. And Jeff Wilson showed you last year that he fits perfectly in this offense. This was a great draft by the Miami Dolphins. This was a very productive draft with those picks. So anybody tells you that they don't like the draft, make sure you explain what they did with each one of their picks. Because it's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Okay. Manolo is in. Rivera, True Fin fan in. Rich says, good morning, everybody in the chat. Hope Sean feels better and gets back home and back to the grind soon. Great sports weekend. I agree. The Medellin Dolphin is in the house. Thank you, Willie. Kyle Cockrell, Gus 1388. Lazaro Barrios. Thank you, Lazaro. Mr. Strafasi is in. Alexis Palenzuela, Denarius Coleman, Emilio Nunez. He says, good morning from Michigan. Congratulations to the Heat and the Panthers. Too Extreme is in the house. Jason G is in the house. Who says South Florida winter sports suck? LOL. Looking a lot better right now, huh? Nyborg is in the house. He's hoping Sean is doing better. So do we. So we got to get him back, man. We won't know about his ankle. You know the Heat. You're not going to find out anything from the Heat. We'll find out on game day tomorrow. NorCal says, where do you put Steph Curry in the best NBA player of all time? Top 10, top 5. Have a great day. Puff, puff, give. I'll give him the best shooter of all time. That's where I'll go. He is the best shooter of all time. I don't know if he's in my top 5. In fact, I know he's not in my top 5. I'd have to think about it. I don't know if he'll make my top 10. But I'll say this, greatest shooter of all time. That I can tell you for sure. Jason G is in. GP Trap is in. Getting a call from the Netherlands. Like, I don't know anybody in the Netherlands. So you know that's one of those funky-ass calls. GP Trap is in. He says, believe it, Panthers. Woo! Let's go, Toronto, baby. No way did I think this was going to happen. Wanted it to, but oh my God. Yeah, I know. None of us did. Come on, man. Beating the Bruins was not something that we really thought it was going to happen. Only the blind-ass fan who always thinks their team is never going to lose. That's the only one. Frankie Fresco is in the house. Pep0222 is in. Urban is in. He says, good morning, Big O. Chris Ike from Arizona, formerly Miami Gardens. What's up, Chris? Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. Terry Lynch is in. Adam Sadowski in. Man, a lot of you are in already. Jesus. Knight, thank you for the first super chat. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Send in your questions, comments, and insults there. And you can make a Bitcoin donation, which there's a little dip. So, good time to make a Bitcoin donation if you're going to make a donation. Knight says, Aaron got a sneak preview of Dolphins versus Jets. Devin Jordan, thank you for the love in the super chat. Morning, O. If I'm Coach Spo, I'd rest Butler and let that ankle heal up and be ready for game 3. Makes all the sense in the world, but these crazy bastards, they power through all this stuff. True Fin fan chiming in again with our super chat. I, too, would give Jimmy as much rest as possible. Thank you, True Fin fan. And thank you again for a second super chat. Send Sean a get well soon from me, my brother. Well, I hope Sean is watching and gets to hear it from you guys. And I'm sure he'll get to read also. GP Trap says we call him Listerine too. That's what it sounds like, right? Woo! Rosendo says, good morning, Big O Nation. To a fine day ahead. Hope Mr. Stanley recovers fast and hopefully he gets better. I hope you wake up to indulge in God's graces and feel his presence everywhere. And I hope the good Lord is helping Sean out because he's the one that needs the help right now, Lord. That's what we got to get. Get Sean the help. Joe Spencer. What I saw in the series was the Panthers' tenacity and heart. Refs did not tilt the ice either way. It's one of my top 5 all-time sports guys' punches. Congratulations is all I can really say. That's from a Bruins fan. Way to go, Joe. Nice job by you. They did show some incredible fight and character, the Panthers. It's pretty impressive, dude. Pretty damn impressive. It's about one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in South Florida sports outside of the Panthers going all the way to the Stanley Cup. This is like next to it. You know what I'm saying? The 2003 Marlins, who were so young to get to the World Series. You know, we've had a couple of those moments. The ones most of you aren't old enough, but, you know, the Canes in Nebraska. It's the same thing. Like the Bruins with 135 points, you're looking at them going, this is insurmountable, bro. The Bruins are nasty. And the Panthers were a weird 8 seed. New system, injured all year. And then they got healthy right before the season, right before the playoffs started. They get Duclair back. They get everybody back. You know, Bennett comes back right at the big, game or two into that series. So they got healthy at the right time. And then all of a sudden, it's like they're putting it together, even though the goaltending is still not there yet, you know, even though Lyon helped out a lot to get in. But it's kind of like they got it together in the last moment. They kind of figured it out. The light went on. And so now, and then obviously, you know, Joe is right. The fight of this team has been impressive. And to do it against that team, against the Bruins, I mean, they lost more to the Panthers than anybody else. They did something that nobody did this year. They made them lose 3 in a row. Jesus Christ, dude. The Bruins they won 65 games this year. They had 135 points. They led this series 3-1. They led the game last night 3-2 with a minute left. Panthers overcame everything and anything possible in that series. That's why it's right up there with the Panthers getting to the Stanley Cup. It's right up there with the 03 Marlins getting to the World Series. It's right up there with the Canes taking on Nebraska. That was just an absolute powerhouse in those days. And Miami was a neophyte in college football. They hadn't accomplished jack, dude. Before that bowl game, I was excited about the Canes with Jim Kelly making the Peach Bowl. That was my pinnacle as a Canes fan before 83. Impressive, dude. Impressive as hell. Frankie Fresco, thank you for the love on the super chat as always, my brother. He says, when Sean comes back, we need that victory cigar video for him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been going back and forth with him. He's staying positive. So that's the good thing. But we will definitely have the victory cigar for my man Sean. We will be ready to fire it off. Roderick Freeman, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says the Heat and the Panthers, two teams with nothing to lose, and that makes them dangerous. That's it. That's it. Your the replacements and your Gene Hackman. Now these guys don't know that they're in trouble because you're dangerous, because there is no tomorrow for you. And that's it. And since there is no tomorrow, they are dangerous. Where's Shane Falco? Drago's saying Big O. A two name is pronounced like a sneeze. Okay. Gesundheit. I'm going to go with Listerine. Listerine sounds a lot better. Plus, the dude he's cleaning it out, bro. Eugene LeBranch says, does the Panthers do the Panthers forget what Lyon has done and goes with Bob the rest of the way? Well, you're paying Bob the $10 million, and he's the experienced one. Lyon has never done this. He's been a minor league goalie. He had his moment. He had his run. You know, at one point, the prince becomes the frog again. And that you're in the playoffs. You don't have time to find out if he's still a prince or a frog. And so it kind of started looking like he was turning into a frog. So you have to go with Bob. Now, if Bob looks absolutely terrible, then maybe you go back to Lyon and give him one more chance. But at this moment, this is the guy that's won a Stanley Cup. You understand? You know, Alex Lyon hasn't won a teacup. This guy won the Stanley Cup. This guy shut down Tampa Bay 5 years ago, but he did shut down Tampa Bay. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I got to tell you, you got to ride with Bob now unless the wheels fall off of Bob, you have to ride him now. You have no choice. So, yeah, Bob's the guy at this point in time. Let's see what else. Bobrovsky gets me nerves when he slides to the left to right like that. I mean, he hasn't been consistent. Bob, the goaltending is not something that should give you any kind of confidence. That's all. Although he had some pretty good saves. The Miami Heat is a damn playoff team, not a regular season team. Apparently. Joe says, for me, it was a gut punch ranking up there with the Sea of Hands game in 74. 81, Dolphins lose to Chargers. Earnhardt's flat tire in 90 and Bruins 2010 collapse. I may start drinking again today. Hang in there, Joe, brother. Hang in there. Hang in there, bro. At least your Bruins have won the Stanley Cup recently, so it's not like, it's not like you guys have been sorry for long and all that. You're a pretty damn good franchise. All right. Dave Hudick says, tough conference, but I hope the Finns are the 1 seed. I got plenty of confidence in the Dolphins this year. So maybe I'm nuts. Maybe I'm the I'm the blind ass fan, and maybe I deserve it, but I think the Dolphins are going to win the division this year.
Blind ass fan alert. Look out, everyone. We've got a blind ass fan coming through.
Sorry. I mean, that's kind of the way I feel, you know? I really feel that way. I really like the Dolphins this year. I think they're going to be a really good team. I would not be surprised if not only they win the division, but they're a very high seed and even get to the Super Bowl. I think we got one hell of a team. You know, it's funny because there was some guy on Twitter, right? And he tweeted out something stupid. He goes, go back and look at 2020 draft as Greer's apologist. You might want to blame him for drafting for Flo. That was supposed to be a franchise turning draft, and there's only one pick today that doesn't have questions in Hunt. And that's actually really not true, but either way, you don't measure somebody from one draft. You measure somebody overall. And last time I checked, this is the best team you've had in over 20 years, and this is the best quarterback you've had since Marino. And you got a shot at winning the division. Doesn't sound like you're doing a bad job in the front office. But if you want to nitpick at one thing or the other, that's fine. But the team it's been the best right now that it's been in over 20 years. This is the best football team you've had. You have a legit chance at beating anybody. That team was injury-riddled and almost beat Buffalo in the playoffs last year. They hadn't played Buffalo the way they played them 3 times this year at all. Since Buffalo became a force, Miami's been getting trashed by Buffalo. Well, they easily could have won all 3 matchups last year. I completely disagree with people, but you know what it is? We have some people in the media that kind of feed this shit. And some of you, because you don't think for yourselves, you end up feeding off of it, and then you repeat what other people say, even though it doesn't make any sense. So certain writers or certain people on radio or TV are guiding you in this direction, and they're wrong, and so you're going down the same path. But we have a lot of sheep in this country. It's kind of the way it goes, unfortunately. Let's see. Yes, Michael, hell of a weekend, baby, with the Cats and the Heat. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Dude 67 says, I've been following the Dolphins since the 70s, and I've never seen this organization go all in like they have lately. And also they're hitting on more of their picks. They're making better decisions now, football-wise, than they have in a long, long time. Pat in Asheville, only pro hockey game I've been to was Flyers-Bruins. As a 10-year-old Bruins fan, was cursing like a demon, scared the hell out of me. I'll see you, Pat? When's, like in 2 weeks, right? I'll see you. I'll be hanging out with Pat in Asheville at the Crowded House concert in North Carolina soon. Soon I'll be hanging with Pat. So I'm like one of the few radio hosts in the country that actually like socializes with the listeners and hangs out with listeners and stuff. So now I'm going to hang out with Pat in Asheville, who's been a very loyal supporter of our show, but I've never met him. So now I'm going to meet him in Raleigh for the Crowded House concert. Then we're going to hang together in Atlanta for The Cure. And then we're going to hang in Vegas for U2. How about that? We're going to go to U2. By the way, because Pat in Asheville was got an extra ticket for the 29th of the U2 concert. If anybody has an extra ticket for the 30th in Vegas, I want to go to the second night there in Vegas for U2. So if anybody has, because I could not get a ticket, man. Freaking sucks, bro. Could not get approved for a ticket. My boy, Greep, did not get a code either. Pat in Asheville somehow got a code because he's like well connected or something, or they're afraid of him, I think, or something like that. So Pat had an extra, and he sold me his extra ticket. If anybody's got an extra for the 30th in Vegas at the Sphere, please reach out to me. Please reach out, because I'm going to be in Vegas anyways. My birthday is October 1st. So I'll get to go to the concert on the 29th. There's one on the 30th. I would love to go to back-to-back nights. And then obviously celebrate the first there in Vegas and have some fun. I never really give a shit about my birthday. I just treat it like a normal day. But if I'm going to be in Vegas for some U2 concerts, and, that's a whole different ballgame. And by the way, if you do have an extra ticket to Vegas on the 30th, reach out to me on my email account at bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. All right? Because I definitely want to go to both nights. If I'm going to be in Vegas for the 29th, I would love to see the concert on the 30th. I got to find a way to get a ticket to get in there on the 30th. Big O, Bob was a 2-time Vezina Trophy winner, but has not won the cup. Didn't he? Dude, didn't Bob win the cup with Columbus when they blanked Tampa? Are you sure? Wasn't that a Stanley Cup? I thought Columbus won. They blanked Tampa in the finals. Well, that was a conference finals. That's what that was, right? That's what that was. Okay. Is that how I got it? Why am I confused here? I thought it was the finals. Correct me there if you can, please. Somebody tell me. Oh, it was opening round? Okay. My bad. I thought it was later than that. I don't know why I thought it was later. I don't even know why I thought it was cup finals either. It was opening round. It was that early? God. Memory is shot there on that one. Whenever an annoying Knicks fan says Patrick Ewing owned Alonzo Mourning, you can just mention that rant Big O had about pathetic Knicks have been the last 20 years compared to the Heat. Hey, they got the edge over the Heat in those rivalries, right? It would go back and forth a little bit. Knicks had a little bit more of an edge on that one. That's the way it went then. Now, neither one won a title because everybody had to deal with Michael Jordan. But in the last 20 years, brother, what have the Knicks done? Nothing. You know what I mean? They're nothing. They mean nothing. You got to start doing something to, thump your chest and stuff. No, I'm not going to Rockville, bro, unfortunately. I haven't gone to as many concerts over the last year and a half like I used to be quite honest. I've saved my money and kind of invested instead. So hopefully now after this bull run, I'll go back to going to a bunch of concerts. But yeah, and Rockville I haven't been to in a couple years. I'd like to go. Today's my birthday, says Dizzy. Well, happy birthday to you, Dizzy. Hope you have a fantastic day, my friend. I hope you have a perfect day. Big O, Omar needs to learn Greer doesn't have a type of player when drafting. His type of player is whoever he can rob another team of in a one-sided trade. Well, the other thing about Omar, he tweeted out some bullshit there that, well, I've noticed that Greer just caters to his coaches. I'm like, brother, that's not, and this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes the media puts shit out, and then those of you trust the person, and they're saying something that's not accurate. And I tweeted him back. I said, dude, Flo wanted Jordan Love, and Chris took Tua. So he doesn't cater to his coaches. What happens in the relationship of a general manager and a coach is that sometimes the coach will tell you, I need a specific kind of player. And then the GM will go find the player with those characteristics. And he'll show him like 2 or 3 guys that he likes and say, Coach, look at the film on these 2 or 3 guys. Tell me which one you like the best. I like these guys. And then he'll let him pick. Or there'll be, I'm sure, sometimes where a coach will like a specific player and the GM will look at it and say, okay, yeah, I like what you're okay. And then he'll pick the player that the coach wants. Or sometimes You need a position, and the coach likes one guy, Jordan Love, but you don't like Jordan Love. You like Tua, so you take Tua. You get it? So that's how it goes. It's not that you cater to your coach. You always cater to your coach, but you still do what you think is most responsible. You still have to pick the player that you think is the best, and you still have to do what's best for the franchise, short term or long term, like Cam Smith. Cam Smith is a long term, short term, and long term. Short term because they probably feel he's better suited, Fangio, to play on the outside more than Kohu, Trill Williams, Nick Needham, apparently. And then two, you're the GM. I've got a plan for, hey, coach, I don't know if we're keeping X after this year. So we've got to also plan, okay, so then let's get a guy that I can use this year as a backup, but then next year might be ready to step in for X. So all of these discussions have to be made. And then that's why sometimes, I tell you all the time about these fake narratives that are put out there. And when I saw that tweet by Omar, that's a fake narrative. And so you got to put a kibosh on these narratives right away, because then they start running wild. Okay? Just like any moron that wants to fire Chris Greer because maybe the 2020 draft wasn't perfect, because it wasn't a great draft. But then you don't look at everything else that was done, all the other drafts, all the other players taken in undrafted free agents, street free agents, trades. Like, that's part of your whole job. And isn't this team a contender? Didn't it make the playoffs? Isn't this the best team you have for the last 20 years? Isn't this the best quarterback you've had since Marino? Doesn't sound like you're doing a bad job. Sounds like you're doing a way better job than everybody else before you over the last 25 years, including sorry-ass Jimmy Johnson. Overrated Jimmy Johnson. Anyway. Big O saving his money for that Dolphins Super Bowl. Yeah, baby. Got to get that pad in Vegas. You know it, Ohio John. And you, Ohio John, are invited to a Vegas party that Sean and I are going to hold over there. So you will definitely be one of the supporters that will be invited to our Vegas party. So there you go. Ray Sosa says, shout out to Christian Gonzalez for representing Colombia. Hate that he went to the Patriots, but happy that we have a Colombian representing us in the NFL. Nice. Didn't Omar say Greer needs to draft BPA, not by need? I don't know. Omar, bro. You know Omar. They took the best player available. You are correct. They didn't go by need. They went by Cam Smith is the best player available. We couldn't pass up on him. And I told you during the draft, my laziness was, and again, didn't I tell you that it's my fault, right? This is part of the shit that I misguided you guys, because we're all in love with, we need tackle, we need a tight end, maybe a middle linebacker, this, that. We don't. Oh, no, they're not going for a corner. They're not going for a wide receiver, right? They're not going to draft a quarterback. The obvious positions, they're not going to draft those kind of guys. They're not going to draft a free safety. They've got Javon Holland. Those kind of things. And then they go and take a corner. And then that's my fault. The rest of the media that doesn't talk about corners or wide receivers and all that, that's my laziness. I shouldn't have done that. I should have talked about the best quarterbacks, the best cornerbacks, the best whatever. Even if we had those positions filled, I should have talked about them. And we should have talked about corner. Do you know why? Because who's been telling you? Who told you last offseason that Byron Jones will get cut this year and X will get cut next year? Who told you that last offseason? Yeah. So if I knew last offseason that Byron was going to get cut this year and that X is going to get cut next year, what a dumbass I am. I should have been looking at corners because that's a possibility. You have to have foresight. You can't draft X's replacement next year when you cut him because now you're throwing a rookie out there. So now you give him a year under Fangio's system. He gets to learn. He gets to play X's spot a couple times, maybe some blowouts, minor injury, rest, whatever it is. You're going to play Cam Smith. You're going to give him reps. He's going to get experience because you got to groom him for next year. That's me. That's my fault. I'm an idiot. I should have looked up at corners, and I looked at it and glanced it over and all that, but it was half-ass. They won't get a corner, and that was my mistake. And then I lead all of you down that path, and every day we're talking tight ends, and we're talking tackles, and we're talking guards, and we're talking maybe middle linebackers. We're talking about the obvious things. That's my fault. That's my fault. And obviously any of you out there did the same thing, right? And then I love Omar to death, right? But he loves to play both sides. And you can't complain when they go BPA, and then you can't complain and say, oh, no, you cater to your coaches. Well, bro, you can't have it both ways. You can't say don't go by need. No, go by best player available. But then they went best player available, and because maybe your defensive coordinator says, I need another corner, well, what are you going to do? And clearly, if you saw the press conference, the coach was in love with A-Chain. That was his pick. You can tell. So you're going to cater sometimes. There you went with a need, obviously, because the coach obviously felt you needed that. And then the other coach obviously thought you needed that. Can't have it both ways. Look, man, is the team in position to win? Yeah. Do they have one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL? Yeah. Is their defense pretty damn good? Yeah. Do they have the best secondary in the NFL? Hells to the yeah. Do they have the fastest offense in the NFL? Yeah. So what the fuck is your problem with Chris Grier? I'd like to know, what the hell is your problem? Because all I remember is Wanstead and Randy Mueller and Joe Philbin and Adam Gase and Sperano, rest in peace, and Cam Cameron and all that shit that was here. And this is a hell of a lot better than any of the shit that we're seeing now. I'm not exactly sure what a Miami Dolphins fan is complaining about nowadays. I have no idea. I don't think Dolphin fans should be complaining. I think they should be loving life right now, looking forward to the season, looking forward to every mini camp, every training camp, looking forward to the preseason, looking forward to Zach Thomas getting inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and then looking forward to the 2023 regular season. You should be embracing it. And I think the media overall should be pretty damn positive about this team's accomplishments and what they're building, because it's a hell of a lot more impressive than the shit I've seen for 20 plus years. This is the best offensive coach you've had. This is the best combination of head coach and defensive coordinator you've had. This is the best front office you've had in 25 years. And this is the best Dolphin organization you've had in the last 25 years. There isn't a damn thing to complain about. Hour number 2 is next.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane, Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines. If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Good morning, boys and girls. Hour number 2 of the program. Thank you for joining us, as always, on the show. Alan Poupart will join us in this hour at 11:30. Marcel Louis-Jacques will join us at noon. And then David Dwork will stop by at 12:30 from the Hockey News and WPLG. We'll talk a little Panthers. He's covering the Cats. He's covering the series. We'll get the latest on the Cats advancing to take on Toronto tomorrow in round 2 of the playoffs. The Panthers have dogs. And that's the difference with that team now. They have dogs. And they're all over the place with Bennett and Reinhardt and Tkachuk and Verhaeghe. And, they just have guys that have Montour. They just have guys that have that dog in them. Montour with 2 goals yesterday in the game. Verhaeghe with the game winner. By the way, I had a poll question out. And Tyler Hero barely beat out Carter Verhaeghe. And I know why it happened. Okay, I put out a poll question about a month ago. Who's the best third wheel on the team? Because obviously Verhaeghe would be considered the third wheel to Tkachuk and Barkov, correct? And Hero is considered the third wheel to Butler and Bam, correct? And would you believe that Hero beat out Verhaeghe? Not by much, but he beat him out. Do you know why? The only reason, because more people follow basketball than hockey. Less people know about hockey. So a lot of the people that voted for Tyler Hero don't know shit about hockey. I hate to say it. So a lot of you that voted for Tyler, it was really your ignorance. You only voted for Tyler because you don't really know anything about Verhaeghe. So you were a Heat fan, and maybe you're a half-assed Panthers fan, but you don't really know. But Verhaeghe, I believe, had 43 goals. But to watch how he played in the playoffs last year way better than Barkov, more clutch than Barkov, and how he has played so far this year, way better than Barkov, more clutch than Barkov. I'm just saying. Anybody that thinks that Tyler Hero is a better third wheel than Carter Verhaeghe, you either do not follow hockey whatsoever, or your knowledge of pro sports is on the downside. Okay? Hate to insult you on this, but I don't think you're a very smart sports fan if you pick if you picked Hero over Verhaeghe, because that would make no sense whatsoever. Hero can't even show up in the playoffs the last 2 years. Verhaeghe has starred in the playoffs the last 2 years. Okay? Hero can't even stay healthy. Verhaeghe, by the way, they don't need load management, and Verhaeghe has got a huge pair. Huge difference, by the way. It's like not even close. That voting should have been like 95% to 5% for smart sports fans. So, let's see. My only complaint about the Dolphins, they are so dang good. I'm running out of time to see the coming dynasty. Well, you better hurry up. You better buy your tickets because championship after championship is coming. So get on board. Terminator says, same people who are complaining wasn't Miami Dolphins fans in the beginning, but now they see the Miami Dolphins fans winning, and they want to be a Miami Dolphins fan now because Miami Dolphins are winning. Willie says, not mad, bro. I'm enjoying the Colombian Labor Day. Is that what it is today in Colombia, Willie? It's Labor Day? So is Bitcoin taking over in Colombia? Because I know you guys, your financial system out there is completely shit. Like a lot of countries, like it's going to shit. How is Bitcoin taking over in Colombia there, Willie? I got to hang with Willie one day when I go to Colombia. Willie is as loyal as it gets. He's always tuning into the show from Colombia. That is strong, dude. Tyler Disapiro. Yep, that's him. Tyler Hero because of his girlfriend or wife now. She is a smoke show. She is an absolute smoke show. That is one thing that Tyler did well, bro. He found himself a special one there. I think now Carter is our second best player than I know. Listen, if I tell you clutch moment, okay? Bullshit aside now. If I tell you clutch moment, do you want Verhaeghe or Barkov? That's it. I'm not asking you what's the best player. I'm not asking you who's the more talented one. Barkov probably clearly is the more talented two-way player. Okay? I don't think that really can be argued. But just because you're more talented doesn't mean that you're the guy that I really want or you're really what I think is the better player. And the last 2 years, in the clutch moment, who do you want? Verhaeghe or Barkov? Dude, it's not even close. So, yeah, I can't argue with that at all. Barkov is showing he's more bam. Right, good, but not great. Exactly. Oh, let's be honest. The Panthers are the fifth wheel in South Florida. Dolphins, Heat, Marlins, and Panthers. No, Panthers are ahead of the Marlins. The Marlins, they mean nothing in this town at all. Panthers are way ahead of the Marlins. Panthers get packed houses. They get a lot of people going to their arena. Nobody goes to Marlins games, dude. Nobody cares about the Marlins. I get what you're saying about the Panthers. I get that they're not at the top or anything, but almost anything's ahead of the Marlins. Marlins, no one cares at all about the Marlins. Dude, the Panthers have made the playoffs 4 years in a row now. Okay? Like, the ownership has changed everything. They haven't gotten a title yet, but they got to get a couple deep runs here. But they're changing the trajectory of that franchise. But the Marlins they are the last team. In fact, I think eventually they fall behind Inter Miami. It's becoming so obvious. The playoff studs on this team are Kachuk, Montour, Bennett, and Verhage. Exactly. Yeah. Joel says, Big O, what moves do you think would still need to happen postseason if the Heat did win the finals? What moves do you think would still need to happen postseason if the Heat did win the finals? Brother, if the Heat win the finals, who cares? Oh, man. Let's see. Labor Day in Spain, too. Okay. I didn't know you guys had Labor Days out there. All right. Willie from Medellin. Let's see. What do we have here? Mental toughness. It's so underrated. You are correct, Eddie. Verhage every day of the week and twice on Sundays over Barkey. Exactly. Yeah, Marlins are playing well. They are playing very well. Got to give them some love. All 3 wins were 1 run, man. They beat them 3-2, 7-6, 4-3, bro. Win's a win. It doesn't matter. If the Heat make it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals without Hero, then that tells me he's going to be traded in the offseason. Yeah, to me, my problem with the whole Hero thing is that, like, he's got some gifts, there's no doubt, but I just don't see him as a guy that you're going to miss that much. I think he's a guy you can replace because he doesn't play any defense. And he's unreliable body-wise. He's always breaking down. I mean, it's ridiculous how much that guy breaks down. He hasn't been available to you in the last 2 years in the playoffs. Yeah, that's one thing I have a problem with. He has a durability issue. George on Twitter says, Big O, I'm not kissing up here, but no joke. You have been the most accurate local sports guy when it comes to the Dolphins for the last 20 years. That's a fact, and it's not close. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that very much. Okay. And you know what? I'm humble with most things in life. That's the only thing I'm not humble about. Okay? I got no problem bragging about it. I get the Dolphins right more than anybody else in town in the last 30 years since I've been in the business. Way more than anyone else in town. Doesn't matter what writer it is. Doesn't matter what person on radio. Doesn't matter who's on television locally. Okay? Anybody that is alive, anybody that's been gone, it doesn't matter. In my 30 years in the media, 33, that's one thing I think I'm convinced I've done way, way better than everybody else. And I appreciate you noticing, George. But I take pride that I'm usually more right on the Dolphins than anyone else in town in the last 30 years by miles, and it's not even close. So, and you know why I think I'm more right than more than everybody else on the Dolphins beat? Because I never have an interest. I don't have to worry about pissing off the team. I don't have to worry about pissing off the radio station because when I worked for it, I didn't give a shit. I don't have to worry about pissing off a front office person or an agent because a lot of people in our business worry about saying something negative about a player because then their agent will get pissed off and then they won't get information from the agent. That's why you'll see a lot of insiders, they'll just break a story. They won't have an opinion on a lot of things, and they certainly won't have any heavy opinions because they can't afford to have heavy opinions. And if there's one thing I've never done is I'm not playing the politics. So I think that's kind of helped me along the way. Whereas some people will be worried about saying something negative because then they got to walk into the locker room and then they got to worry about the PR person hearing it. And then they don't want to help them for an interview or whatever. And then you never really get the true honesty from somebody because they're so worried about something else. And the beauty about what we're doing here now, being independent completely, brother, I don't even have to deal with some idiot program director coming to me saying, hey, we have a relationship with the team. Can you be a little easier? You know, one time I had the program director come up to me, can you stay away from calling Whiteside a knucklehead? And I go, no. He left a semi-automatic rifle unlocked in his car. That's what knuckleheads do. Is that not a knuckleheaded move? Well, but you know, we can handle it a little. No. You want to handle it, you go ahead. I do things my way. Okay. And Whiteside is a knucklehead. And you're lucky I'm calling him a knucklehead. I'd like to call him something a little bit more rougher, but I'm on radio. If it happened now I can just call him an effing moron. You know what I'm saying? Because if you leave a semi-automatic rifle unlocked in your car and you're 7 foot and people are looking at you when you go out to the car to put a semi-automatic rifle, man, you might think you want to use a little intelligence. How about this? Don't put the semi-automatic rifle in the car and walk back in. How about keeping the semi-automatic rifle with you inside the gun shop, and then when you leave, then you put it in the car and leave with it? No, you leave it in the car unlocked and go back inside so it gets stolen. That's what a knucklehead. No, that's what a fucking moron does. Hey, can you stay away from that, please? We have a relationship with the team. Yeah. I don't need to play the politics. I don't play the politics. I don't care about them. So that's helped me out a lot, actually. Oh, and you were right about Flores. Oh, yeah. We're right a lot about, we've been right about a lot of things. We've been wrong about some things, but we've been right about most things, actually, when it comes to the Dolphins. Big O, top 5 pro sports stars in South Florida history. That's really tough, dude. It's really tough. Zonka, Marino, Wade. Shula. Oh, wait, do coaches count? You said top 5 what? Pro sports stars. Shula and Riley, then. Yeah, that's it. Shula, Riley, Marino, Wade, Zonka. I'll go with those 5 stars. And if I have to push the coaches out, Jason Taylor, Zoe. There. Because I got to go with longevity. I got to go with, impact, everything that you've made. So those are probably the top 5 stars right there. And quickly, just to come up with it. Because unfortunately, hockey and baseball cannot make the list. There's nobody in town that stayed long enough and done long enough. And so it just doesn't exist, unfortunately. So it'll be dominated by football and basketball, because those are the impact sports. Those are the ones that have really lasted here for a long time. William Quigley says, Big O, Wade versus James. I would take Wade over James any day on clutch moments, although James is the better player. Yeah, no, James is the better all-around player, but I'll take Wade in the clutch for sure. I completely agree with you on that. Whenever I think about Colombia, first thing that comes to mind is Pablo Escobar. Really? No, for me, it's Shakira. You give me Colombia, I'm thinking Shakira, bro. I'm just thinking those hips. I would hate. I've said this before. It would suck to be married to Shakira for one thing. All the other stuff is good, of course, because she's obviously gorgeous. But she tells you, honey, I want you to take out the trash, right? And yeah, you're not in the mood. Yeah, I'll do it later. But then she walks up to you and starts moving those hips. Can you take out the trash for me? And that's it. I'm taking out the trash. She comes at me moving those hips. She's in those undies. Can you jump off this cliff for me? And I'm just mesmerized. Yeah. Here I go. Oh, and I'm just falling off a cliff. She could get me to do anything with those hips. Dangerous. Too Extreme says, Tyler Hero's a luxury, not a core player. This team needs a stronger set of core players. And after that's in place, then worry about role players like Hero. Yeah, he's not a key guy anymore. That's for sure. Check MP says, definitely Shakira in that booty. Those hips don't lie, says Travis. Big O, we think of Colombian rear ends. I'm just thinking of Shakira. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking of that Colombian. That's what comes to mind when you say Colombians for me. I'm just thinking Shakira. I get you're thinking Pablo Escobar and all that other stuff and cocaine and drug dealing and coffee and all the obvious stuff and all that. I'm just thinking Shakira when you tell me that. Chad says, what Jimmy is doing has to be honorable mention. What he's doing right now with this team is more impressive than Wade. Between Shaq and LeBron, we would lose in the first round with the Hawks then. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Mike says, same here. I think Colombia, I think of beautiful women. Yeah, it's hard not to, bro. Hard not to. Colombia can produce some beautiful women. The first thing that comes to mind for Colombia for me is Carlos Valderrama. I met him at a Medellin airport in the late 80s. Super nice guy. Yeah, and he played for our Fusion. I covered him for the Fusion. The thing about Valderrama, his mind, right, was like light years ahead of everybody else. And what I loved about Valderrama is that Pibe didn't really have to move around a lot, and then he just take 8 steps that way, 4 steps that way, and just touch the ball, boop, pop, hit it, and it's landing like right in front of the forward. Like his passing skills were just stupid. And his vision was just ridiculous. We talk about Tua and certain quarterbacks with anticipatory skills and ball placement and accuracy. Pibe did all of that with his foot. Okay? Same thing, dude. Anticipatory skills, ball placement, accuracy, quarterback or a number 10 in soccer. Same thing. And Pibe was, the Tua of tens. He just was. It was beautiful, man. Beautiful watching him pass the ball. Big O, did you already say who you would have picked with our 4 picks based on who was available? Did you watch the draft? Because we were on. You can go back and check out all the names we talked about there. Knock yourselves out there, my man. Let's see what else. Colombian, Shakira's my crush, LOL. But then again, I married my Colombian wife, so I'm happy. There you go. There you go. You better say that too. Or you might be sleeping on the couch. You know what I'm saying? All right. the man, the myth, the legend, Alan Poupart is ready to go.
Dolphins fans, time to get insight on your favorite team with your favorite reporter with an Expos hat. Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart in our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report, exclusively on a Big O radio show.
All right. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
I'm doing great, except for some reason my computer sound is wacky, but no, I'm doing great.
Okay. So what'd you think of, I mean, we're not going to go crazy on the undrafted free agents. We'll start to see them practice, and then that's when we'll say, hey, that guy's kind of interesting, that kind of stuff. But, a lot of names. Anything stood out to you?
Yeah, there are two of them. Well, the three of them. Sorry?
I know it's kind of unfair because there's so.
No, there are three of them that caught my attention for different reasons. Number one was Aubrey Miller from Jackson State. Based on his resume, Dolphins do have an awful lot of edge players. And that's the other thing I do when I look at UDFAs, is like, okay, where's there a realistic possibility of sneaking onto the roster? And then there's the kid from USC, Brandon Peely, I would assume that's how you pronounce his name.
Yep.
Dolphins have a need for depth on that defensive line. So if he shows something more so in training camp than he would in the OTAs, and the OTAs is about, how well are you absorbing the scheme, and, how well do you do on your assignments? He's another one that intrigues me. And then because of the name Michael Turk, the punter from Oklahoma, is interesting. The nephew of long ago Dolphin punter Matt Turk.
When I was on the beat. Wow.
Yep. Long time ago. But the thing is, Dolphins just signed a punter in free agency, gave him some guaranteed money, not a ton. So if Michael Turk blows away Jake Bailey in training camp, he could steal that job. But obviously the incumbent has a major advantage there. Those are the three names that kind of jumped out at me.
Okay. All right. Because I'm just wondering, looking at these names, and again, we'll find out once they take the field. When's the first minicamp? Is it this weekend already?
Or next weekend? I believe it's next weekend.
Next
Teams
weekend.
have the option of doing it the weekend after the draft or 2 weekends after the draft, and I think the Dolphins are taking option B.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. I will. What day is next? Is it like during the weekend next weekend? Is that what it is?
It's the weekend. It's the weekend, and it's not like, unless I'm mistaken, going back from previous years, it's not like we get a full viewing of the practice. So.
Is this one of those where we just get to see them stretch and then they kick us out?
I believe so. Yes.
Oh, that sucks. I'm not going then. If I don't get to watch practice, I'm not going to go. To go check out who's there stretching. Yeah, it's not. That's not a lot of fun for me.
That's for the hardcore beat guys.
Yeah, the hardcore beat guys like you will definitely be there overall. So I would imagine you gave the Dolphins an A+ for their draft.
A++.
A+, right? I mean, Brad Chubb, Cam Smith, Jalen Ramsey, Devin Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jeff Wilson Jr., Elijah Higgins, Ryan Hayes. That's some good usage of your picks.
When you throw in the three vets, absolutely. The one caveat though, it's if you throw in the three vets, then you got to throw in the financial consideration. So it's a good draft. It's also a very expensive draft.
I know, but shit, bro. Jalen Ramsey for your 3rd round pick?
No, dude, you haven't heard me complain about that, have you?
No, you can't. I mean, you'd be an idiot to complain about the production out of that draft, man. I mean, that's overall. And I'm excited for Chubb because hopefully with Fangio, you get him on track and you get the production that you traded for. Mm-hmm. Because last year, obviously, he was a disappointment. And I know he talked about trying to justify and force things, and it just didn't work for him, and he was trying to kind of get his groove. And I think he said I'm paraphrasing, that he kind of started to feel comfortable towards the end of the season or something like that. I think
Well, he also got dinged. I mean, let's be fair to the guy. He had an ankle issue, and then he had. I mean, if I remember correctly, he was playing with a cast at one point. So
he was in the club. Yeah, he was in the club. He was 50 Cent.
So no, I'm not. We're going to be honest. He did not have a great stint with the Dolphins last year. Should not have made the Pro Bowl. But let's not pretend like the circumstances were favorable for him.
Right. No, definitely. He didn't justify the trade, so now he's got to justify it this year, overall. What else have you been able to unearth after we spoke on Saturday about this draft?
Nothing that didn't really stand out before. I mean, I think you and I both talked that Chris Greer is very collaborative with his coaches. Mike McDaniel wanted
a chain,
wanted the speed with a chain, and Vic Fangio wanted another piece for the secondary, and they got Cam Smith, and they can do a lot of different things. And that brought me to ask, and I checked on this. Jalen Ramsey was used in a lot of different ways with the Rams the last couple of years. I mean, everywhere. Which is what prompted me to ask Mike McDaniel if there had been any conversations about maybe using him at safety. And Mike McDaniel kind of looked at me like I had three eyes or something, or I was asking him a hockey question or something. But it's there. I mean, it's not like I didn't make it up. I mean, he literally played Joker, even he lined up at linebacker at some point, even like outside in the slot. So I think they have the ability to do a lot of different things.
I can see if a tight end is giving them trouble, they move him in.
Absolutely.
And by the way, that's probably why they also got Cam Smith. Because
without question.
I would imagine Fangio said, yeah, I like the Kohu kid. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, Nick Needham's got some potential. Hopefully he comes back from the injury. Yeah, the Trill Williams kid's got but that's not the outside guy I need. We need another outside guy just in case, so I can move Ramsey inside and put Cam Smith on the outside. And we can also plan, because I'm sure that's also where Chris and Fangio have this discussion. All right, coach, listen, next year we get into these cap issues and we're probably going to have to part ways with X. So that's something that we have to look forward to. So then, okay, let's plan. Let's get a guy that I can use this year, get him ready. And then next year, if we do part ways with X, I can move him to the outside. So these are things that you have to talk about behind the scenes. And I think that's what the Cam Smith thing is. It's a guy that can help you and keep you flexible this year. And then it's a guy that if you do part ways with X next year, then he's the guy that can slide out and take over. That's what I think is happening.
No question. And I also think, I don't think there's any chance in hell that they drafted him without a plan, not only beyond this year, but also for 2023 of this is what we can do with him. Okay. And then we can move, we can have him on the outside, move Jalen to the slot, move Jalen to cover a tight end, whatever. I mean, all sorts of permutation. And the more quality cover guys he has in the back end, the better off. I mean, if we want to get crazy with ideas here, think of if Cam Smith pans out and is as good a cover guy as we hope he is, and you can have Cam Smith and Xavier Howard outside, and you can line up Holland and Ramsey
inside
safety with four guys.
Who is your nickel?
And then when you go to five, you can have Kohu or whoever else emerges. So that's pretty.
Well, yeah. If Needham comes back strong and can beat him out, right now I would imagine Kohu's got the inside track. But if let's just say it's Kohu out there, I'm feeling pretty good about that secondary, bro. That's the kind of secondary that's going to allow you to get sacks.
Correct. That's what's going to. And I'll be honest with you, and maybe I'm overblowing this for some reason, but I am very intrigued to see what Trill Williams can show.
Yeah,
he's a guy. I like the look of him last summer.
Me too. I thought he was improving. He flashed even 2 years ago.
He did.
And then last year really was showing that he was growing up and figuring things out. And then the poor kid suffers the injury. So I'm with you there. Just like, the one thing that's kind of changed with these guys is I look at this list of undrafted guys and I'm like, somebody's going to stick here. There's going to be one or two guys that are going to catch our eye because that's kind of been their MO now. It's almost like now we're almost expecting, the under the radar guy to start flashing to us in training camp. So that part's going to be fun about that.
Well, we had a little discussion in the media room on draft weekend about how many rookies can make this 53-man roster. And I think, I don't remember what my number was, maybe 4 or 5. There's not that many spots. And it could be 3 of the draft picks and 2 of the UDFAs. Usually, I mean, last year was 2 who made the original 53, but then Braylon Sanders got elevated. Veron McKinley not only got elevated, he actually wound up being signed to the active roster. That's in addition to Tanner Connor and Cater, of course. So,
did they sign a contract with Oregon that they're required to draft a safety or sign a safety every year just in case? Because they signed another Oregon safety. So apparently, you know, they love.
He didn't play with Holland though. He played with McKinley. He did not play with Holland. He came over from another program. Yeah, I believe Colorado, maybe.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. That coach, that guy kicked ass for Oregon last year. He brought in the cornerback. He brought in their best pass rusher. Like most of their best players that made most of the impacts were transfers that he brought in. Actually,
good old Portal.
Yeah, he took over from Mario and then took it to another level, bro. Props to him. And yes, you're right. The safety we got is a guy that he brought in as a transfer. And so it's just funny how somehow or another they got that Northwest scout is bringing back always some stuff. Hey, I got another guy we got to look at, you know. So
yeah,
you just never know, man. That's the cool thing. All right, when you look at what's next, what is next now? What follows up now in free agency? Are we expecting the tackle? Because I'm almost expecting Fleming to be signed. I think it's Fleming over Luan, to be quite honest. Your thoughts?
Without question. A's cheaper. B actually had Luan's dealt with injuries the last few years. Fleming had a very good year from what I'm told out in Denver last year, can play both sides.
Luan's left, right? Luan's only a
Luan, I don't believe has ever played right tackle in the NFL. I could be wrong, but I don't believe so. Right. And I think the Dolphins already are pretty set at left tackle as far as the starter's concerned.
No, they need a swing. They need a swing.
No, I know that. I was being funny because they have Teron Armstead. I know that. I know that they need a swing guy, correct. And they need a dependable swing guy. And Cameron Fleming would fit the bill. Now they're very low on cap space. They get a nice chunk back on June 1st. Is there a rush to do it? Do they have a wink-wink agreement with the guy? Possibly. I'm not sure about the time. I would be inclined to think more June than it would be now. I mean, we're talking a month. Don't think necessarily anything really would change that. So I'd be inclined to think, like I said, more June right now. I think they probably hold still. They're about to. What's next? They're getting into phase 2 of the offseason program, which is a little bit more on the field work, whereas the first 2 weeks is just basically conditioning and like rehab stuff. So I wouldn't expect necessarily a whole lot of movement. They have the 5th-year option deadline coming up tomorrow. Don't think anybody realistically expects anything to get done there as far other than letting the deadline pass.
All right. What are you working on Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out? And when is the next go around for you and Omar on the podcast?
That's a very good question. It's to be determined. I think it's going to be early this week for the next episode of the podcast. And on alldolphins.com earlier today, I put up a story of the Dolphins have unveiled the jersey numbers for the new guys. We're going to have story examining the 5th-year option. We're going to have a draft film breakdown on the 4 draft picks from my man Dante Collinelli. Other stuff as well, looking at the team where it stands after the draft, and as an ode, tribute, homage to the Florida Panthers and the Miami Heat for the massive upsets they pulled off in the first round of the playoffs. I'm counting down the 10 biggest upsets in Dolphin history.
Okay. and I'm putting the Panthers win over the Bruins like right behind Marlins 03 and Panthers Stanley Cup. Like when we talk about like, I don't know, surprise ups and Nebraska 83.
Nebraska is a good one.
Like those are like, right? Because I mean, Panthers getting to the Stanley Cup is still, my God, bro. That
and
team.
Their third year, that was completely crazy. But if you're talking about one series for a team against a team that set the record for most wins and most points in a regular season, and the way they did it too, holy smoke! I mean, they were like
in the series. They were leading 3-2 with a minute left in the game.
Not only that, dude, go back to game 5. Brad Marchand has a breakaway in the final seconds, could have ended the series there. In game 6, Boston had the lead in the third period, not once, but twice, and the Panthers kept coming back. And then yesterday, they're leading 3-2 in the final minute before, I mean, completely insane.
How about the on TV, like at the minute 25 mark, they flash Panther goal, and it goes away.
Did you see that?
Quick. And then the Panther goal comes 30 seconds later.
Yeah. Somebody was joking. See, and it's not just the NFL that's scripted. The NHL is scripted too, and they just jumped the gun.
Right, exactly. You know that if it would have been the reverse, my God, the calls today would have been, oh, it's rigged. They wanted the Panthers to lose this, that, or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just like anything, mistakes happen and you never know. But it's funny how that thing kind of foreshadowed the Panther goal. That was
eerie.
Pretty funny.
It's eerie.
Yeah.
But that was completely amazing. I mean, it's a fun run we're having with the two teams here.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no. Well, listen, the Heat, to their credit, it was awesome. But obviously, Giannis out for the first 2 games opened up the door for you to, do your thing. And then after you took care of business, because Giannis came back and you beat him straight, beat him twice. But for this series, and I know Boston had a couple of injuries too, but still, they were the best team in the league by miles and miles and miles. This is the most points ever in the league, 135, 65 wins. I mean, it was sick to do what they did. I got to give them a slight edge over the Heat on this one.
No, I agree. And allow me to do this. If you recall at the time of the Tkachuk trade, I said they're going to be a much tougher out in the playoffs.
You did that. You did that because I was concerned, and you told me, no, I don't think it's that bad because it's a new system. They've been injured, and if they get healthy now and they get going, it could be a whole different ballgame. And they got healthy, actually. Then that's been a huge thing too that they got healthy. And let me tell you, all these guys stepping up around Tkachuk, Montour and Verhaeghe and these kind of cats, Bennett and all these. They've got some dogs on that team. I don't know what happened to Barkov, but they've got some dogs on that team, bro.
No, Barkov is just insanely talented, but he doesn't have the dog in him. You want to talk about dogs outside of Tkachuk, who's almost in a class by himself. Sam Bennett's a complete dog.
Bennett is, and so is Verhaeghe. Both, but
well, last year in a different way. Verhaeghe's more skilled. Bennett is he is a prototypical playoff player, the kind of guys that win Stanley Cups because of his willingness to get dirty and nasty in the playoffs.
Okay, well then with Verhaeghe, I'm going to go clutch. How about that?
Absolutely.
Okay, because last year and this year, both playoffs, Verhaeghe was the stud last year. That I was pissed because the top 2 guys weren't showing me what Verhaeghe was showing me last year. And sure enough, here he is again, which just shows you it wasn't an aberration, what you saw from Carter Verhaeghe last year. That dude is a bad mofo. And Montour, bro, he had a couple of negatives there because he had he gave them the power plays. Yeah, the penalties. Yeah. But he made up for it also with the score and the physicality too at the same time.
But if you remember the game-winning goal last night, it's Bennett who digs up the puck and gets it to Verhaeghe, and it's Tkachuk who's parked in front of the goalie and kind of screening him.
Yeah, Tkachuk is just God, man. He is exactly what we needed. So let me ask you something. If you're the Panthers in the offseason, What stops you from trading Barkov for another son of a bitch?
Because those guys don't grow on trees. I mean,
Okay.
they're like, there are so few of those guys, which is why Calgary never ever trades
with SOBs is what you're saying. Just keep surrounding him with SOBs. Okay, I got
But Calgary never ever trades Matthew Tkachuk if Tkachuk doesn't tell them, I don't want to play here anymore, trade me.
Okay.
He's the one who got that going. I mean, those guys are like so rare and special. Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
God. Thank God. But what I love is that they've added a couple of other guys that have that it to them, and that's you need it, bro. You need it in this game in a big time way. All right, follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL, and remember, you are not a Dolphins fan officially until you bookmark alldolphins.com. Alan, we will catch up later on in the week, my friend. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You be good.
Appreciate it. There you go, Alan Poupart, baby. And our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart. For additions, home remodeling, and custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is your custom home builder and general contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
I love it. I love it. Thank you all out there, as always. Alex Brown, sir, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, I believe Higgins is our Sherfield replacement. Nope. He will be a tight end. He will be battling Tanner Connor. What's going on with Higgins, I talked about this on Saturday, I think it was, right? Saturday or Friday? No, Saturday. This is what I think is going on, all right? I may be completely wrong, but I'm convinced he will be playing tight end. He will not be playing wide receiver. He will be a tight end, and they are developing an offline tight end position on this team. So your man, our man Higgins here will be battling Tanner Connor for that position. You'll have Salbert and Smythe as your inline guys and blockers. And then you'll have the offline guys, which are those two guys, and they will be battling. Tanner Connor should be incredibly worried that Elijah got drafted. So clearly he wants to put speed all over the field, out of the backfield with Mostert and now A-Chain, at tight end with Tanner Connor and Elijah. And then obviously they've got plenty of speed at wide receiver. So he wants to add that element of speed all over the place. And Elijah, I really like the kid. I watched his film. He catches with his hands. He catches in traffic. He uses his body. He can go up in the air and get it at its highest point. They didn't do a ton of that there, but there were moments where they put him in that position and he was able to do it. So, and he's got good hands overall. A couple drops, but I just think that, overall, I think it's pretty good for that round. And that's an intriguing prospect, and he brings speed to that position. I like that battle. That's going to be a fun battle that I'll be watching in training camp, and I think all of you should be watching it, not only in training camp, but checking out in the preseason which one of those two. So I guarantee you that he's going to be playing tight end. Okay? Guaranteed. Alex, thank you for the love in the super chat. And the next one, you put there, you sent two. Okay, thank you. I believe Higgins is our Sherfield replacement. Thank you. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo. By the way, what is Bitcoin a little low, down 5%, just over 28,000. Take advantage. Take advantage. Okay. Let me check out what we got going on here. Let's see. Florida Panthers Arena is located in Sunrise. Sales to this event will be restricted to residents of the United States. Residency will be based on credit card billing addresses. Orders by residents outside of the United States will be canceled without notice and refunds given. Is that awesome, or what? The Panthers aren't allowing people from Toronto to buy the tickets. Thank you for sending me that. I did not know that, but that is awesome. Yep. I love it. Okay. That is fantastic. Remember, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. You can make a donation, and you can make a Bitcoin donation. Send in your questions, your comments there. Always appreciate it. Thank you. All right. That is funny. Nice job by the Panthers. Big O, it must be that Fangio is okay with our linebackers. I'm still excited if and how he plans to use Channing Tindall, who we drafted last year. Yeah. Well, Tindall and Azukama are two guys that hopefully it's like adding two more free agents to your team because they weren't really a part of your team last year in a big time way. So I'm looking forward to that too, also with Tindall. I'm very excited to see him in his second year. Kyle says, I'm waiting for Jasmine to have another pullback so I can pick up some more. You know, I was thinking of picking up some more right now at 64. Because I don't know how many more dips are going to be before this bull run starts. And Bitcoin, I'm telling you, and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy that loves crypto. But I just think that we're on the brink of Bitcoin exploding. And right now, Jasmine's at 64. I mean, listen, man, we're talking about 64th of a penny to 60th of a penny or 59th of a penny or 65th of a penny. You know, once it starts moving to several pennies and, 25 cents and 50 cents, will it really matter that much? I doubt it. Your money's going to multiply like rabbits won't even be able to multiply that fast. Okay? So, I was thinking myself, maybe I should take a little bit more because I'm as guilty as you thinking when it was under 60, I wanted to get a little lower, right? But, once it blows and it explodes, we'll never get these prices. It'll never be under a penny again. And then that's when you regret. And you say, oh, man, I should have bought it at 64, 59, 64, 67. What the hell is the difference? It's not even a penny yet. You know what I mean? And I think Jasmine has the potential of going even way farther than that, but we'll see. We'll see. What the hell do I know, right? One more thing on that. Okay, because we saw that First Republic Bank is going down. This is the second biggest bank failure in history. I want to remind you all out there because, these idiots in the government will tell you, the banks will be fine and all that, and everything's going to work out. I just want to remind you before this, okay, before this bank went down, the FDIC has $125 billion to bail out banks. Do you know how much is in deposit in banks in our country? $9.5 trillion. We have $9.5 trillion deposited. The FDIC can only insure up to $125 billion. Do the math. Minus $125 billion from $9.5 trillion. That's a lot of trillions they can't cover. Okay? So watch out with your money in the bank. I'm not a financial advisor, but I would only keep money in the bank to pay bills. And that's it, dude. Because if you keep your savings in there and you can't get to it, that's not going to be fun. Let's see. Big O, which of the UDFAs other than Michael Turk have a shot at making this team? My man, I won't know that until I see them play. What am I going to do? I'm not going to lie to you, man. I don't know a lot of these guys. I'll tell you this. I saw a lot of the tape on Aubrey Miller, the kid from Jackson State, the linebacker. He's got some interesting talent. The San Diego State center, Alamale Ulave, another guy that I thought was kind of an interesting prospect. Peely, the D lineman from USC, is another guy that's very interesting, but doesn't mean anything. And by the way, Bennett Williams, the Oregon safety, the Vernon McKinley III, he didn't look too bad. And obviously they've got the other Oregon guy, but I'm intrigued by him only because of the track record. Okay. And then what was the other guy that I'm, the Chris Brooks, the running back from BYU. Don't think he'll make the team, but he might actually make the practice squad. So there's a couple guys, but who knows, man? Maybe this Daywood Davis kid from Kentucky becomes a player. I have no idea. None of us really do, you know. I haven't even sent those names out to my scouts for the hell of it. I'll do it today. I'll make a list and send that out to them. And see if I get anything in return from all of that. All right. It is noon. Let's take a quick break. We get ready. Marcel Louis-Jacques will join us to start our number 3. You know, I tell you guys all the time about Cutter's Edge Pro, man, and what they did with our backyard and made it a pure oasis. That's our Sylvester tree right there. A beautiful day, providing a ton of sunshine. We've got one exactly like this out in the front yard, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There's Bono hanging around on the artificial turf. What's up, Bono? What's the word, baby? There you go, wagging that little tail. Maiden, there she is. Ziggy. How you doing, Ziggy? There you go. So we got the doggies hanging out. So just want to give you a little, we got some of the trees starting off from this way with the artificial turf. You see, there's Ziggy again, of course. Got it all the way. And look, we got some flowers coming out. That tree now will start to also spring, and it's absolutely beautiful too. So got all that, they can do all kinds of things for you in your backyard to kind of make it an oasis, which is what we've done. And obviously the dogs can play. What's up, Bono? I got him there hanging out. Maiden, there she is. There she is, the one and only. She's mean as a skunk, by the way. Just want you to know. She's awesome with us, but I mean, if you're a stranger, you don't want to meet mated. So as you can see, and then the artificial turf, remember, there's no watering. There's no cutting the grass. It looks fabulous like this the entire time. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. Back here in this corner is where we put the barbecue. I wheel it out, cook, then I wheel it back in. See, looks beautiful, doesn't it? Flowers are coming out. It's awesome. And then when I want to play a little golf, there's my putting green down the side, which is a beautiful thing. There's one of the holes all the way to the other side where Bono is at. All lights up. It's really beautiful when it lights up. See, we got the rough. Got several. Got one on that side. Got one over there in the corner. Bono's leaving. Got rough all over the place, man. Just in case, you get the ball trapped in there. That's it. That's another swing. Right, Maiden? So, check it out. CuttersEdgePro.com. Make your home an oasis. Make your business, your HOA complex, condominium, you name it, they got you, bro. They do it all. All right? Then cut your trees down. And the artificial turf, I swear by it. Really easy to maintain, and it looks just absolutely freaking beautiful. Cutter's Edge Pro. Right, Ziggy? For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
All rise, football fans, as the Welton Rayon Miami Dolphins report with Marcel Louis-Jacques is in session.
Welton Rayon has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider Marcel Louis-Jacques.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? How y'all feeling out here? Everybody feeling
good,
optimistic, happy about that draft?
A+. Freaking awesome draft.
I think it was fine.
Chubb, Cam Smith, Jalen Ramsey, Devin Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jeff Wilson Jr., Elijah Higgins, Ryan Hayes. That sounds like a freaking productive way of using your 8 draft picks. I don't know about you. I mean, and this doesn't even include the idiot owners costing them a first and a third. But if you consider what they did with those 8 selections, I'm calling it a hell of a draft. I'm going to A+.
Look, here's where I think I might differentiate from, without naming names, other reporters on this beat, who everybody's entitled to their opinion. Nobody is right or wrong. This is just where I differ. I didn't see glaring weaknesses for this team entering the draft. When I think glaring weakness, 2020 was a glaring weakness at quarterback. You had to get one. Like, a glaring weakness meant you have to freaking get one, or all hell is breaking loose. You know what I'm saying? Left tackle. With the tonsil, left tackle, glaring weak. You need it. You need it, or you cannot go forward. You will not have a season, essentially, if you do not address this position.
Center.
I didn't see glaring weaknesses, but I saw areas where they could improve. You needed depth on the offensive line, but we know how this team feels about their offensive linemen, to the point where it shouldn't be a surprise anymore when you don't see them go after every lineman available. You don't see them reaching to add a starting left tackle. They think Austin Jackson is the starter. Whether you agree or not, that is their thought. That is their belief. We shouldn't be surprised by that anymore. They needed depth, though, and they needed depth at cornerback, because as we saw last season, they were this close. They were one more Xavier Howard soft tissue issue away from looking like the Detroit Lions on defense. Like, there was no – it was an emergency. It was an emergency. It was arguably an emergency even with X healthy, because he was playing hurt. I think
didn't they work you out also? They were about to give you a contract?
Gave me a call. It was like, hey, look, man, we'll keep it quiet. We'll train you a little bit. You look kind of big. What are you 6'2"? It's like, yeah, 6'2", 210. They're like, I got one hit in me. I got one hit. I might be the one getting hit, but I got one hit in me. but like we said, I think it's maybe even fair to say, if X has a similar issue this season, he sits. Not even fair to say. Like, I'm willing to say that. If X has a similar groin injury this year, he sits. If I was like, shit, man, we got Jalen still out. We got Cater. We got Cam Smith. Why am I playing? Like, I'm not playing hurt. He had to play last year. So I
told Poupart, I think Cam Smith is the guy that Fangio looked at and said, I don't really have an outside guy if these guys get injured. I don't think he was convinced with Kohu or Needham coming back from an injury, or even Tro Williams. So Cam is that guy that can play on the outside. And then also you have to plan, because As I've been saying for a year, I told everybody that Byron would get cut this year and X is going to get cut next year. And if you are going to cut X next year, you're going to need his replacement. And you don't draft a replacement that year. That's crazy to just throw the rookie in there. Okay, replace X. Now he gets a whole year to learn the system, play at times, fill in for Ramsey, fill in for X, and then he'll be ready for next year. And I agree with Poupart that maybe Ramsey also at times is going to be moved into the inside at the slot or up against the tight end or something like that. And then that's when Cam Smith will come also off the bench and replace him and play the outside spot. So I think those kind of things could happen.
He played all over the field for the Rams the past couple of years in that like star position.
Right.
It's matchup based. And while McDaniel and Greer both said, no, we're not moving him to safety, he's a really good corner, we're probably going to see a lot of 5 DB sets under Fangio. There's a lot of opportunities to get on the field, position flexibility and like position fluidity. You're just going to see the best 5 line up there. And I think they're going to be mixed and matched across the field. Like, I don't think it's going to be extreme. I think, we're still going to see, we're not going to see X at safety. We're not going to see Javon at outside corner, but just the areas of the field that they're lined up in, I think they're flexible, they're rotational, they're versatile. So yeah, I once it kind of got over the initial shock, they're like, wow, Darnell Washington fell this far. Oh, okay, they're going corner. And think about it for about 10 seconds and say, yeah, okay, no, that makes perfect sense. I said on Twitter the day of the morning of the draft, like, dare I say, running back is on the board. Running back's on the table. They like Devin A-Chain. He looks like a Miami Dolphin on tape. So I'm not surprised at all that they went with him at 84. Besides, I know they re-signed the entire room, but realistically, Ahmed and Gaskin aren't getting touches unless one of those two get hurt, unless one of Mostert and Wilson get hurt. Yeah. They're not really comfortable. They want 3 running backs active.
Gaskin better watch. That's his competition right there. And remember, this guy's also a returner, so it also changes. You got a multifaceted player there. And I think he wants to just continue to add speed out of the backfield. So it's not just Mostert. So if Mostert's a little banged up, you can use A-Chain. Or if you want to really freak defenses out, you have Mostert and A-Chain coming out of the backfield with Waddle and Hill. And, brother, that's a foursome that there's no secondary in the world that's going to stay with all 4 guys. It's impossible. Nobody has those 4 guys on defense.
And actually, I just wrote it. I just wrote it today as part of our fantasy preview. It all obviously it hinges on Tua being healthy, but as long as Tua's on the field, everybody is a threat to score. They could put a lineup out there where everybody is a threat to score no matter where they get the ball. I think that's exciting. That's the threat that Mike McDaniel wants this offense to turn into. So no, I liked it. And then round 6 and 7, man, I'm not gonna beat the table down, explaining why they took a converted wide receiver, tight end, and an offensive lineman.
I can tell you. I can tell you.
Those are straight pick. I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm not saying it's a good. I'm saying those are where you're throwing darts at the board, hoping to find a diamond in the rough. I'm not gonna overanalyze.
Hold on. Let me tell you what I think he's doing. Hold on a second. All right. So you got your receivers, okay? You got your tight ends in Salbert and obviously Smythe. Those are your blocking tight ends. You have your running backs, and you added A-Chain now to that group. So now you added more speed and another receiver out of the backfield at the same time, because that's also very imperative in this offense. You can run and catch the ball. He's also developing an offline tight end in this offense. Tanner Connor was the experiment last year, and Elijah Higgins is the experiment this year. Elijah will play tight end. He will battle Tanner Connor. He will battle Tanner Connor offline. So Tanner Connor should not be happy about this draft pick. And again, Tanner brings speed. Elijah brings speed to that position. I think what he's trying to do is add speed at all positions, and he's creating a position of an offline tight end, And I think that that's what you're seeing in Tanner Connor and Elijah Higgins. Two guys are going to be battling for a spot, or two guys that might be battling for nothing if others are better and nobody shines. But I think he's trying to experiment with an offline tight end.
No, the way I say, like, I know what he's going for. I'm not saying like these are useless picks, but I am saying that the two guys, Smith and HA, they are going to have defined roles. They are on the team. Like, this is happening. There is a concrete plan and an immediate way that they see the field. Right. Higgins and Hayes, again, like, you hope they make the roster. They've got some traits. You hope they make the roster. That's it. Like, it's not worth being angry about, what position they did or didn't address in the 6th or 7th round when you have 4 picks at this point. Again, like I said, you're throwing darts at the board. We want this guy to be an offline tight end. I hope it translates. It's a hard position to learn in the league. It's a hard thing to do for him. So like we'll see, but we'll see. Minicamp starts. Oh man, next weekend, I think. The 12th to 13th. 12th to 13th. Mm-hmm. We'll get a little better idea. We'll get a little better idea.
Will you?
First,
will you? Poupart says that's the one that you only get to see them stretch. You don't really get to watch the practice.
I thought we see all of rookie minicamp. I've only done one here, but in my experience covering the NFL, I have always watched the entire rookie practice because we talked about it last year, and I said nobody's necessarily going to stand out and wow you. You're not going to say this guy is going to be a legit star off of rookie camp, but you can tell the guys who can't play. You can always tell who is not going to play based on rookie minicamp. If they look like they belong, then I'm not going to write them off. But you can tell. I guess I always say Will Greer, quarterback for the Panthers. Watched him during rookie minicamp and knew right away.
Yeah.
No. So we'll see where he's at. But like OTA start on, I think it's May 23rd. We get 1 or 2 of them before the end of the month. Then minicamp starts early June. Like we will get an idea. Obviously, like pads aren't going on until end of July at this point.
Yeah.
So like we still got a long time before anybody can say anything definitively good about people, but like we'll get an idea. Like we are slowly dipping our toes back into real football.
Did you get any dirt on any of the undrafted free agents? I know it's really hard to get anything positive out of those kids, but did you ask around and get anything from any of those guys?
No, I like the kid from the kid from Illinois State. It's like Valkenburg, I want to say. Valkenburg comments. Somebody clean me up there. I think he's highly
Zeke Vandenberg,
highly productive in college. I think productivity can translate when traits don't. So like I'm excited to see what he's able to do. Beyond that, I can't outright say that there's a Kader Kohu or Nick Needham in this class, but I'm willing to give Chris Greer the benefit of the doubt that there is. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
You know that by the end of training camp, we're going to say, hey, the 1 or 2 of these kids are going to shine. I'm already counting on it now. Like that's kind of how it's turned out every year now, that I'm counting on 1 or 2 undrafted free agents to catch my eye.
Exactly. So like I said, I can't. My plebeian brain cannot pick out who the guy is going to be based on their college tape. I might have a better idea starting next weekend. I might have a better idea by mid-June. But at this point, I'm willing to give Chris Greer the benefit of the doubt. He's done it. He's done it before. He's done it again. I'm sure he will do it again.
I'll tell you what, the Aubrey Miller kid is freaking inspirational. Okay. I don't know if you watched any of the film, any of the stuff that is out there of Aubrey Miller, the kid from Jackson State that went with that was in Dion's school.
Yeah.
And that kid's inspirational, bro. Like that's one of those kids that you like root for. Like you want him, to succeed because you can tell he's got dog in him. The question is now he's going up to an incredible level from Jackson State, but he shined at HBCUs, so he shined at that level.
He's used to winning.
My favorite player of all time in the history of the NFL comes from Jackson State. His name is Walter Payton. So it's possible.
I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I don't think that. Obviously, those schools they go under the radar. They are underfunded. They're underappreciated. They're underdrafted. We saw how upset that Dion is at the fact that only one player was drafted this year from an HBCU.
He's the only one that can fight for them, bro. He's the only one that they'll quote.
That's what I like. I'm not mad at.
What I mean? Another coach in that conference says it. The quote doesn't carry any weight. That's the other thing that I don't think people appreciate what Dion has meant for HBCUs and how he's brought them more attention. And he's the only person that fights for them publicly that has weight. You know what I mean? Because they haven't had a lot of people in the world that carry weight, that can fight, and can stand up for them, can send their message out there. Dion's been the only guy in my lifetime. Eddie Robinson was one guy that at least the world gravitated to. And once we lost Eddie Robinson, really, it's been Dion since.
That's why, I wasn't mad at him for leaving Jackson State. He's doing what any coach ever has done, which is move to a better job. And respectfully, Colorado being a P5 institution is a better job. This is not NCAA 13 on PS2 or PS3. He's not turning the SWAC into the Mountain West. It wasn't happening. But what he did do, he got them on the map. He made people pay attention to him. Now we're seeing HBCU combine since he started. He brought a world of attention onto this conference. He put his own money into it. Now it ball's in their court now. What are they going to do from there? What are they going to do without him?
Right.
Ball's in their court.
And by the way, the NFL should invest in it because you're going to unearth talent anyways. And since you're not mining that talent enough as it is, and so there are young men that are falling by the wayside, and it's because you're not giving them an opportunity. You know what I mean? We're watching the WNBA grow at levels that none of us really ever expected women's basketball to grow. I don't know if you did you see the new Las Vegas Aces all women's basketball facility? Did you see it?
Yeah, it looked like, is it over there near the Raiders facility? It looked like the Raiders facility.
But it's badass, bro. This is the kind of shit that we never expected. But that's because if you don't give them the opportunity to grow, then it'll never grow in itself and it'll never grow on us as fans. You know what I mean? Because you got to win us over in order for that to succeed. And for HBCUs, well, dude, you're going to have to put them on TV so then people can see them. And NFL teams are going to have to start, recruiting there and trying to find players out of there, unearth talent. Because as you start unearthing talent from there, then you'll start to draw attention from fans. You know what I mean? Just like if this linebacker, Aubrey Miller, has success for the Dolphins, then Aubrey starts to open up the door and eyes from other people and say, hey, let me go look at some of these other schools. Are there other players like Aubrey that we can bring in? But, nothing happens until you give people an opportunity, man.
That's it. I was kind of I don't remember the full story over at Bethune-Cookman. Was it Bethune-Cookman, right? They tried to hire Ed Reed.
Yes.
And their facilities had asbestos and rats all in them and trash everywhere. And that's at some point, HBC, you got to help yourself. You have to invest. But I understand that there are limited funds. And so it's hard to invest millions of dollars into a program when you only have X amount of money to begin with. And ultimately you are an institute of higher learning. The learning has to take precedence over the athletics. I understand that. But, it is kind of it was embarrassing and it was a bad look for everybody involved. Ed Reed's rant on social media and the state of those facilities that we saw on the video. But that kind of stuff can't happen. Everybody involved has to be in 100%. Because the NFL is not going to half-ass it. They're not going to half-ass their support. But I personally appreciate Deion. He did what he said he was going to do. He didn't say he was going to be there for the rest of his life, but he said, I'm going to help put this school on the map. I am now moving from HBCU talk. I'm very curious to see, is he a good coach? Because I think why he won in the swag is like, you're Deion Sanders and the best talent now, the best talent whose cap is that level is now going to come to play for you.
Right.
What are you going to do at Colorado? Because you got about
everybody else, and everybody else is getting your kind of talent in Colorado everywhere else. Whereas in Jackson State, you were getting talent that was superior to everybody else. So I get what you're saying. Yeah. This is definitely going to be a test for him. But by the way, the other thing, not only was he bettering himself like anybody else in a job, he also is a custodian to the other men that are coaching with him that are not named Deion Sanders, that probably don't have his bank account, and they are looking to better themselves and their families. So when he went to Colorado, it wasn't just for him. Really, it's more for his assistant coaches because Deion has his money, bro. He made his money. He's still making money. He's making Aflac money and all kinds of shit. So he's got plenty in the bank. What he did moving to Colorado was he bettered the lives of his entire coaching staff, bro. And that's super important. That's the part that you can't, that's your responsibility too, is the people that are working for you. And that's, you got to give them props for that because that's.
You got to do right by you. You got to do right by the people who
got it right,
because you're not doing this by yourself.
No, man. No. And those people need to make a living too. And unfortunately, at Jackson State, you weren't going to make the assistant coaches were never going to make, the kind of money that they need in order to really take care of their family. So I completely understand. All right. Are they done? What's I told Poupart I think Fleming's the next guy. I don't think it's Luan. I think it's Fleming because he can swing. Luan is just a left tackle, and he's got a really strong injury history lately. I don't know if you really want to take that chance. It kind of reminds me of the Fisher guy last year. Hell, he got injured before he even could play. You know what I mean? And I kind of worry about that. I think it's going to be Fleming.
Yeah, I don't know if Luan is willing to move to right tackle or not. I think that somewhere out there, a team's going to pay him play his desired position. I don't know how much money he wants. And like you said, he has not been healthy or effective for the past 3 or 4 seasons. He's either been suspended, healthy or unhealthy, injured. It's the easier way to say that, or ineffective. Like it's a name, and you don't pay big for names.
No,
that's why we didn't see a big trade for Dalvin Cook this weekend. You don't pay big for names. Although I will say, Jeremy Fowler said it on SportsCenter. He texted me about it as well this weekend. They were in the conversation. They'd reached out about DeAndre Swift.
Sure, but Greer, he reached out for low-hanging fruit. Oh,
remember what I said?
There's no low-hanging fruit. I'm not interested.
Remember what I said a couple weeks ago when we were talking about Tua considering retirement? I said Chris Greer can have a conversation about a trade on the phone, and as soon as he realizes, oh yeah, no, I don't want to do that, hang up. Technically, he was considering it, but it wasn't actually going to happen. Like it wasn't it wasn't like, oh, this is this close. Oh, it almost, no, like he did his job as a GM. They knocked on the door. I think Eagles got him for a 4th round pick. The Dolphins don't have a 4th round pick, and I don't think they're really interested in trading future capital right now. Actually, I don't even think they have a 4th rounder next year.
$10 million salary, bro. They're not paying $10 million to a running back. So if Cook wants to make up for the money that he's going to lose in Minnesota, he's not going to make up for it here. If he wanted to take like $3 million, $3.5 million or something, and Chris Greer is just picking him up off street free agency, fine. Or maybe give up a 7th round pick or something, fine. But he's not paying any kind of big salary for Dalvin Cook, and he's certainly not paying any kind of high draft pick for Dalvin Cook. That's just the way.
Ooh. No, they have a 4th rounder next year. They don't have a 3rd rounder. Damn, that punishment was steep, man.
Terrible, bro.
The punishment, but I always said they weren't getting punished for tampering. They were getting punished for tampering and tanking. Now, the NFL might have come out and said, we didn't find evidence of tanking. They didn't. but they basically affirmed everything Flores alleged. They basically said, yeah, he was telling the truth. They weren't tampering though. It was like that Rick James skit on Dave Chappelle. Man, I didn't grind my feet into his couch. I never just did shit for nothing. I have more sense than that. Yeah, I remember grinding my mud into his couch. Like, what are you talking about? Everybody was so like, yeah, I told you Brian Flores was lying. And that's how I could tell who did not read the damn investigation notes. That's how I could tell who didn't read it. Because they said everything he alleged was true. He did offer you $100,000. He did meet with Tom Brady. He did offer, like, everything was true. But with a league that started to do more business with sports books and sports betting, they can't have a team be found guilty of tanking. Like, right. They are cracking down hella hard on this. That's why guys who are betting on college games from in the facility are getting 6-game freaking bans, because the NFL can't have the integrity of the game in question with billions of dollars at the table. So this punishment wasn't just for tanking. It was also for tampering. I wouldn't be shocked if under the table they're like, look, we'll publicly say you weren't guilty, but we both know you did that shit. So you're going to give us a first-round pick this year. You can give us a third-rounder next year. You can give us $1.5 million or whatever the hell Stephen Ross was $1.5 million. I think Bruce Bill was another $500,000. Like, that doesn't even sound right for as a punishment for tampering for a player you didn't even get. Like, right. Not getting him is essentially the punishment. Like, getting caught cheating and not succeeding is the public humiliation of that is a punishment all in itself. They needed to do all that for just tampering. No, like, that was a double punishment disguised as something else.
All right, before I let you go, are you expecting anything else at tight end?
Like what? Okay. Like, no. I think these are their tight ends. I think these are their tight ends. I don't think there's anything else out there available. Obviously, they tried to trade for Darren Waller a couple years ago. It didn't happen. There is no other tight end on the market that I'm aware of. So this is it. It's Smythe. It's Smythe. Smythe is your guy. I think Smythe is going to get lion's share of the snaps here. I don't know who he's going to split with. I'm actually trying to rack my head because I know there's a tight end that I'm forgetting about between Smythe and Tanner Connor. It's not Seeping Carter.
Well, Salbert is the other guy. It's there, and then Higgins.
That's one.
Salbert and Higgins are there, so it'll be a competition with the other two guys, and Salbert will be backing up Smythe. What do you got going on ESPN so folks can check you out?
Going over the draft class, guys to watch. I'm still learning about these guys' backgrounds and just trying to find some human interest things that are just football related, help get people know these guys on a human level. Looking forward to getting these guys, like I said, not this weekend, but next weekend. And then we got F1. So I'm barricading my car and making sure I don't touch traffic this week. Good luck to everybody who takes 95 in the Turnpike this weekend. Just remember last year, it took a cool hour and a half to get to and from Edgewater and Miami Gardens each way. So
US 1, bro. Go US 1, go 27th Avenue. Be creative. Don't go on 95. That'll be a big-ass parking lot. Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ and catch his work there at ESPN. Marcel, we will catch up later on in the week, my friend. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with Marcel Louis-Jacques. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
Right. We're going to switch gears, baby. We're going to go from football to a little hockey. Yes, sir. And last night, maybe one of the greatest upsets in South Florida history. Might be the greatest upset in hockey history since the Bruins had the most points ever. And the Panthers took them down in 7 games last night. And the man that covers them on a daily basis is joining us now, David Dwork. Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing? Oh. Nope. We got your
It
mic.
got me.
Now
Yep.
we got you.
There we go. My bad.
You're good.
You're good. All good over here. Oh, I'm still kind of recovering. I haven't slept. I've just been kind of wandering the streets of South Florida with my pots and pans, celebrating, and no, it's amazing. I mean, I'm hearing you kind of build it up. Hockey, not just South Florida. I mean, that's one of the biggest sports upsets. Like,
yes,
looking at how far apart these teams were and how good the Boston Bruins were. Not to take anything away from the Panthers, but if it wasn't a first round series, that's huge. Massive.
Yeah. No, and I was I was with Poupart in the combine, and we're like, we were watching because every year that we go to the combine, Poupart and I always end up going to Kilroy's, which is the Irish place, and they've got, it's just a great bar. And we always go and we always watch a Panther game every time. We'll go there and watch. Yeah, because the Panthers are always playing while we're in the combine. And there's always one or two nights that we'll go over to Kilroy's and have their delicious garlic breads that are stuffed with cheese and pepperoni. So good. But anyway, God, I want one of those right now.
You're killing me. I haven't had lunch yet either.
Yeah. And so the Panthers are kind of disappointing. And I'm like, bro, what's, and he goes, man, I just think they haven't been healthy yet. And, the new system. And I think that if they kind of get healthy, they could be a completely different team in the playoffs. And they could be, and he was right. You know what I mean? Because I was really disappointed. We were all wondering, dude, is this the right coach? Changing the entire scheme. Was this the right thing to do? They were so exciting last year and all of that. And, we're now watching a team that is much tougher, can play better defense in the playoffs, which is what you need. And kind of what people were talking about, that the way that Maurice builds it, it's going to be a better suited for the playoffs than they were last year. And all of this stuff is kind of coming together right now.
Yeah. What really sold me, because I just kind of thinking of how the year has progressed. We've been told over and over why the decisions were made to change the coaching staff, why they wanted, you don't have to have a reason for the Tkachuk deal, but why that was a perfect fit for what they're trying to do here, why he's a better fit as a franchise guy for the team they're building. But what really click for me that this is was this conversation that I had maybe 2 months ago with Bill Zito after a practice one day at the arena, and just about Paul Maurice. Without being rude, I was just like, you've shown a lot of decision and what's happened to this point, and this is going back, before they were, where they were still fighting for a playoff spot, and he was so unwavering and calm and just explaining why it's working, how it's what Alan was telling you, valid reasons to this point. There's injuries, the schedule was insane, guys got sick, they're learning an entirely different way of playing that they had just been succeeding with for the last few years. They won the President's Trophy last year. They were amazing, and Zito is just cool and collected, laying it out for me, and I'm listening and nodding. And yeah, by the time he was done talking, I'm like, okay, I'm convinced too. This is the right move. This is going to work. And sure enough, here we are. It's not only is it working, but it just worked to the point where they beat the best team in the league, the best team the league had ever seen. What more can you say? Bring on Toronto. I want to see this continue. The players are so bought in. Maurice says that, in the big moments on the bench, there's no coaching being done. The players are coaching themselves. They're psyching themselves up. They're putting themselves in the moment. It, playing it here in my head in real time, talking to you. This is what you want. This is what you envision. This is a team battle tested, built to succeed in the playoffs, and showing you that that's the case.
Well, listen, the whole season, Paul Maurice was a cool customer. The entire time, he never flinched. He never wavered on it, as much as we were all wavering and wondering what the hell is going on. And, the goaltending was inconsistent, and it's just, it just wasn't coming together. And then somehow or another, final month of the seaon, and Alex Lyon gets on a roll, and all of a sudden, and then the other thing, the one thing that's also changed too is obviously Tkachuk. Tkachuk has brought that the guts that you needed, that edge, that nastiness. And then look at Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe proved to us last year that he was a dog. And then this year, once again, last night with the game winner, then you've got Montour and you've got Bennett. It just seems like there are more SOBs on the team. Sadly, Barkov is not an SOB, but it's kind of like what Poupart said earlier on the show. He's so gifted that you need to surround him with those guys. You don't need to make any more changes in getting rid of Barkov, but you got to have those nasty guys around so Barkov can play and facilitate and score and do whatever he has to do with those guys. But that's the other thing that I see with this team. There's more of an edge than there was last year.
Yeah, and the funny thing with Barkov is like they've said now, like he was really sick when the series started, so that's kind of why that we saw him get better. But even his game, the last few, game 5, game 6, game 7, he's throwing his body around. He's checking guys. He's knocking guys into the boards too. I think it helps that you've got the Bennetts and the Tkachuks of the world, the Ryan Lombard when he's healthy, that take the attention of that part of the game. That's the guys you're focusing on if you're the opposition, the guys that you can't stand. Like they were booing Matthew Tkachuk in Boston. They were chirping him on the ice. Like he was the focal point. So now Barkov can go out there and be physical, and nobody's going to focus on him, and nobody's going to zero in on him, and he can still, as you said, go and play his game. And it's just so well-rounded right now, Like we knew they had the scoring skill. We knew that they could put the puck in the net. We knew that they had talent, but now they're nasty. They out-nastied the nastiest team in the league just now.
Right.
Like, listening to Jim Montgomery, Boston's coach, after last night's game, like he was giving the Panthers credit for doing their bread and butter. They were the team that was stepping up and checking. Boston was the one that was being forced into mistakes, which is what they had done to the entire league all season.
Right.
It's
right.
Yeah, I mean, to your original point with Paul Maurice, like he has been so consistent, non-wavering in his belief in what he was teaching. And he told them, if we get to the point where we can just do this, no questions asked, muscle memory, things can happen.
Dude, to win 3 of your 4 games in Boston?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, dude.
Right?
That just makes it. You didn't just beat Boston. You beat Boston in Boston. You beat them more than anyone else the entire season. Going into that series, you had 2 wins with what is it? 2 other teams that beat them twice, I think, throughout the regular season.
One other team beat them twice.
One other beat. Okay. And then now you add, and in the playoffs and in a 7-game series, 3 of your 4 wins are in Boston.
No team won in Boston more than once other than Boston.
Right.
They lost 7 games total. Regulation and overtime. They lost 7 games total at home out of 41. The Panthers just beat them 3 out of 4 in Boston.
That is just
It's ridiculous.
No, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
What they've done, because they're just so unaffected by the hostilities of the road, by the pressures.
Mm-hmm. Or what were you going to say there?
Just saying, like they're so wired right at this point of the year that it doesn't matter where they're playing, it doesn't matter who's in the lineup. I mean, you saw the Panthers. How many guys were in and out of the lineup this year? You mentioned the goalies.
Yeah.
They signed a 3rd-string goalie in the offseason just in case, like that, just speaking about Bill Zito, to have that kind of, okay, we need to make sure that we have another ultimate insurance policy. We're going to go out and get the minor league champion from last year. We're going to go out and get the goalie that just won a title in the playoffs. He's going to be our 3rd guy as our insurance policy, and he's the guy that gets you into the playoffs.
It's crazy. Is he going to stay with Bob all the way from here on out, you think?
I think if you're a Panthers fan, you do not want to see Alex Lyon again for the rest of the playoffs, because that would mean Bob is wavered, at some point. So I think ideally, Bob is their guy. He's the guy. He's who won their $10 million goalie. He's who they want to be their guy. He's the starter. You're going to ride him as long as you can. It's nice that should he stumble at some point, have a guy that they can count on, that everybody believes in. It's not like you're bringing in a backup and guys are like, oh shit. Yes, everybody believes in Alex Lyon the same exact way they believe in Bob at this point. But no, like, let Bob run with it. Panthers, fortunately, like, they're never. I say never. Right now, their goaltending situation, they don't have an elite guy that's going to put the team on his shoulders and carry them to a championship. That they don't have that guy. Bob, He has that potential. I'll believe it when I see it, when he does it consistently. But he certainly has the potential.
Yeah,
but they've got a team right now that.
I don't know if that we'll ever see that potential anymore. I mean, we keep waiting for year after year. I think you just got to hope that he can make some timely saves, which, by the way, he did win in overtime last night. Just hope he can make some timely saves, and then the defense in front is really good. By the way, somebody is asking. Oh, hold on a second. I just lost the damn question. Bill is asking if Lomberg is coming back from the injury, and does that mean that Dalpe goes back down if Lomberg comes back?
Lombard has been switched to week as of this morning, speaking of Paul Maurice. So I would not expect to see him for at least the first few games of this series. And even if he was healthy, I think just because you're so thin at forwards at the bottom of the barrel, that Zach Dalpe, he's proven his worth to the Panthers in the postseason at this point. He's been extremely consistent. He hasn't been like that fourth line when they've utilized it. It hasn't been a lot, but when they put that fourth line out there, they've been fine. They've done their job, and that's the kind of thing you don't want to mess with. So I would expect Dalpe to stick around. If Lombard gets healthy and they have the option, fine. But I don't think at this point you lose the option. You lose that flexibility. And I mean, Charlotte, they're one game away from elimination in their series as well. Hopefully they can keep their playoff run going. They're playing the Hershey Bears, who are really, really good in the Eastern Conference of the AHL this year, and they lost the first two at home, so that could be a moot point anyway. But yeah, with Zach Dalpe, I mean, that goal he scored in Game 6 was huge, and he's a very popular guy in the room. He's hardworking, and he's another one that has zero reservations about going into those gritty, grimy areas, putting his elbows up, and not taking any crap. So. The Panthers are fortunate that they were able to call him up and that he's produced the way he has for them.
By the way, follow him on Twitter at David Dwork. Catch his work at the Hockey News and, of course, at WPLG. David, any other injuries? And I forgot yesterday somebody took a shot that they were like shoulder dragging a little bit. They went, I think they went into the locker room, and now I brain farted and forgot if they came back or what. Who was that? And is there any other serious injuries going into Toronto tomorrow night?
No major injuries. You may have been. It was either Brendan Montour or Gus Forsling. I think both of them at one point or another were a little hunched over heading to the bench. I believe it was Forsling that briefly went to the room. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, I think. But
I mean, Gus Forsling, he seems to get some kind of horrible shot or some cringeworthy injury every game, and he just comes right back like nothing happened. And like that guy is a machine. He's so underappreciated. I want to say underappreciated. I don't know outside of South Florida if he gets the attention, but that guy, his body he must look like this shirt, his whole body. Like he must be covered in black and blue bruises for the beating he takes. And he's so consistent too. So yeah, no injuries. They should be, other than Lombard, they're for now good to go.
The guys blocked a shot yesterday with his ankle, and it was like, oh shit, dude. God, that's gotta hurt, man. Oh, who
ask me, like, as a goalie, like, are you crazy for getting in front of those shots?
Who was the guy that blocked the shot yesterday with his ankle from the Panthers?
I think it was Mark Stahl.
Oh God, I felt bad. Yeah, it was Stahl, and he had to he kind of like skated off like on one foot. It's like,
one shift. God, I think like Eetu Luosterainen, he took a hit and he had to stay. Or no, it was Nick Cousins towards the end of the game that he took a hit and he started going to the bench, and then Boston comes rushing down, so he straightens up and he's on the boards trying to fight for it. And as soon as the puck is gone, hunched down again, heading to the bench. I mean, that's what the playoffs are all about.
Yeah. And by the way, Listerine had one hell of a goal the other night too. That was
the man.
That was.
He's only 24 years old. This guy is going to get better and better. He was coveted last year at the trade deadline. Like this, the Panthers have some really sneaky talent.
Lundell,
they're superstars.
Yep. Lundell. How old is Lundell?
21. Yeah.
And he's he helps all the time, dude. He's contributing all
This
the
isn't
damn
a
time.
team. This isn't a team that's like just built for now. This is a team that should be a contending team for years to come. Like I always say, the big question mark long term is the goaltending.
Don't they get
Spencer Knight becomes what they think he's going to be?
Well, I don't know about that one, but they do get some cap space this year, right?
They'll have a little bit more, I think, than $10 million to work with in the offseason, which, again, looking at who they've already got on their roster moving forward, you don't have to make any big swings. You bring in a couple solid middle six guys, a couple 15, 20 goal scorers, your depth is replenished like it was last year. You're playing this new style of play. Like the Panthers could be next year similar to what the Boston Bruins were in the regular season this year, just in terms of a team that's going to be very tough, literally, to play against game in and game out.
All right, give me a preview. Give us a preview of what we're going to see in this series, Panthers and Toronto.
It could be similar to what we saw in the Bruins series, maybe a little bit more open ice play, like because Toronto is a team that does build a lot off the rush. But again, this is another team that likes to check. They've got some amazing talent on the top end of their lineup. They've got defenders that can score. And again, they're just like the Panthers were. They're riding a high right now. Florida last year won for the first time in 20 some odd years. Toronto this year won around for the first time in, I think, 19 years, something like that. So now the two teams that had the longest droughts between playoff series wins are going to battle in the second round. I'm pumped for it. I love it. It should be fun. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think either the Maple Leafs or the Panthers are going to be in the conference finals this year.
Catch his work there at the Hockey News and at WPLG, and more importantly, follow him on Twitter at David Dwork so you can keep up with this Panthers run in the playoffs. David, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you immensely.
Anytime, man. Be well.
You got it, baby. There you go. David Dwork coming through for us.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
I'm sorry. I'm just seeing something come over the wire. It says, Biden says regulators' actions with First Republic are going to make sure that the banking system is safe and sound. Sure, old man. Sure it is, of course. Every decision you're making is making it safe and sound for us. Yes, of course. Latest, right? Now, if you have good credit, you'll pay a higher percentage on your loans. And if you have bad credit, they're going to give you a lower percentage on your loans. Yeah. That's how we do it now. That's how our government does. We give people, points for being failures. And, not living up to the responsibilities. But the people that live up to the responsibilities, let's penalize those people because, of course, let's penalize people that actually pay their bills and have good credit and, pay their taxes and do all the right things. And, let's penalize this. Fucking asshole. Anyway. Oh, if David is using Windows, he can fix the audio from going high to low by troubleshooting the settings. Yeah, I know. I'll talk to him after about compressing. But yeah, I was compressing, so I saw it, and I'll talk to him after. I didn't want to get into it in the middle of the interview. So we got most of whatever he was saying. It wasn't like most of it was skipped over. So, but I'll reach out to him after the show and tell him that the compression was a little too tight there. Sleepy Joe's got it under control, don't they all? So stupid. Yep, they're penalizing people who are good. Yeah, I know. Isn't it classic that they penalize us for making our payments on time and having good credit? Fucking assholes. True FinFan 78. So being responsible gets me penalized. Yes, that's how it is now. I don't know if you guys know this, and I don't know how many you actually keep up with stuff that's going on in the world, but yeah, they are. The people that have good credit will have to pay higher rates of loans. People that have bad credit will pay lower rates of loans because, of course, the people that have bad credit, you're going to give them better loans because they're going to maintain those loans because that's their history. They must have gotten that bad credit because they pay off all their loans. They pay them off in time, all that, That's why they got the bad credit rating. But the people that get the good credit rating, you people are good. We'll treat you like shit. It's the stuff we do in this country, dude. I'm telling you, man. Mr. Spock, banking system is safe, just like the tap water in Flint, Michigan. Exactly. True Fin Fan, thank you for the love again on Super Chat. Says, bought my house at 19, paid last year at 44. Well, we're now going to put you in jail. Okay, True Fin Fan, in this country, we're not going to put you in jail because you're too responsible. Remember, we're the kind of country that allows an autonomous zone where you could just take over an entire neighborhood and police station and just hang out. Oh, yeah, you guys are all right. Oh, Bitcoin. That's all I got to say. Anyway. Yeah, they don't make money off your interest if you pay your stuff off every month. Well, they do when you do get a loan for your house, bro, you are paying interest for 30 years or 15 years, depending on what your mortgage is. You are paying. And you get your car for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, you are paying interest, my man. You know what I mean? So they do cash in, but they guarantee to cash in instead of the people with bad credit. Well, it's going to get repoed. So what did it do any good by giving them better interest rates? Oh, man. Anyway. Yep. You are right, Bradster. Big O, just like credit card companies do not want you to pay off your cards on time. They definitely don't want you to pay off your cards on time. True Fin Fan, thank you again for the super chat. He says, my 3 kids will live with me till I die, I guess. Probably. The poor credit folks get a 1.75% discount in interest rates, and the good credit folks get to pay an extra 1% that gets funneled to yet another government pocket in the name of DEI. Big O, not prejudice. He hates all equally. Yes, I do. Yeah. For those of you that, you're little political wussies, I don't like Democrats or Republicans. I bash both. They're both garbage. It's just, you might catch me bashing a Democrat one moment, and then you'll catch me bashing a Republican the other moment. I only care about Americans. I don't care about them. They all want to do is divide us. So just in case, for those of you that get all worried about it and all that, I take shots at both. I'm sorry. I don't like either side. I like you, Americans. I don't like Democrats or Republicans. They don't help me. They hurt me. They divide us. By the way, did anybody see Dylan Brooks on the street after he got eliminated and all the fans picking on him? Did you see LeBron's tweet? He put out a tweet. He says, when you see me fighting against a grizzly bear, help the grizzly bear or something like that. He put, I'm paraphrasing. Listen, I'm not a LeBron fan, okay? I don't personally like LeBron, the way he's handled certain things, and especially here in Miami, not a fan of LeBron. Sorry, that's just the way I feel, okay? But in this case, I am picking LeBron over Dylan Brooks every day of the week and twice on Sundays because it's so stupid what Dylan Brooks did. Disrespecting a great player, an accomplished player, a guy that's way better than you'll ever be. You know what I mean? It's like karma hit you right in the face. And then to watch his silly ass in shorts with his little purse walking down the street and everybody slamming him. I thought that was freaking hilarious, bro. Okay? Like, hilarious. It was great to see him eat the amount of crow that he ate there. And I'm glad that LeBron James got, the revenge or the satisfaction, or he laughed last, or whatever phrase you want to use for it. Good for LeBron on this one. I cannot root for Dylan Brooks. Listen, you want to talk your crap? Then be somebody. You're Dylan Brooks, dude. You're not Steph Curry. You're not Kevin Durant. Not that Steph Curry or Kevin Durant are going to talk shit about LeBron, but if you're going to talk shit about LeBron, you better be one of those kind of guys. You're Dylan Brooks, bro. You're carried by your star named John Morant. You're nobody to slam any star whatsoever. You're Dylan Brooks. You're a role player, dude. So I got to say, I'm not a LeBron fan, but in this case, I'm in LeBron's corner, and I'm glad that he got the last laugh on that one. Okay? Because, you got to have respect for the people that have kind of accomplished it. Right, Ray, exactly. Dylan Brooks treated LeBron like he's Deion Waiters, and, that's ignorant on his part. So I got to tell you that scene of him walking down after the game and everybody is slamming his ass and you're hearing all the insults and all that from the Laker fans, that was awesome. That was just simply freaking awesome. Okay. Congratulations to Inter Miami. They beat Columbus on Saturday 2-1. Campana with 2 goals in the 7th and the 41st minute. That was awesome to watch, impressive to watch, and it's great to have the kid back because they need him badly. The Martinez acquisition has been an outright disaster. Okay? Sucks. But I give him credit. At least he came back and played really well. Played last week too, but they need him to stay healthy because the Martinez deal is terrible, and you're going to need somebody else to kind of carry everything. And hopefully, this kid can get it done. But interesting. The one sad note that I saw yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw it, Shaquille Barrett's daughter. She's 2 years old, and she drowned in their family pool yesterday. I can't imagine what that family is going through right now. Jesus, man. Any of us that are parents, that's the last thing you want to do, bro. You need to check out, not your kids. You know what I mean? You never want to bury your kids in a 2-year-old. Are you kidding me? She hasn't even lived her life yet. God, I saw that story, and that is, as a parent, that is crushing, dude. I see my daughter, and that's like everything for me in my world. My daughter and my wife. That's it. That's the center of my universe, and you never want to see anything happen to them. You don't care about yourself, but you want to take care of them always. And my thoughts and prayers to Shaquille Barrett and his family. That man has got to be just absolutely devastated today, man. I saw that story, and that was crazy. Let's see what kind of questions you guys got out there for me. 2-game winning streak for Inter Miami. Yeah, that's true with the US Open Cup game. That's true. But it was really nice to break the losing streak in the MLS. They needed to get back on track, and hopefully they can start winning some games. I saw that headline, and I couldn't read the story. It was too sad. I know. It's just hard. Sean's doing a little better. We're hoping that he can get out in the next day or two from the hospital. So we are flying solo today, and we're flying solo on Saturday. You know, it almost became a blessing that the Dolphins didn't have a first day pick, so it was hard for us to sell the Dolphin draft to bars because there was no first round pick, and having the 2 picks in the second day was just not sexy enough because what we wanted to do was sell it as a 2-day broadcast. But then Sean ended up getting hospitalized. So I'm thinking, I was thinking about this on Sunday. I was going, my God, if we would have sold it, I wouldn't have had an engineer. I would have had to scramble to find an engineer and all that stuff. It would have been a mission. So it kind of ended up being a blessing that I'm doing it in studio, just like today. Today I don't have a producer. Today I'm kind of flying solo, and I'm handling everything, which isn't the easiest thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Ohio John, thank you for the love on Venmo. Remember, you can send a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. He put Tyreek, Mostert, Wilson, Chubb, Fangio, Ramsey, a chain. A GM like Chris Greer is a coach's best friend. Tell him what's on your shopping list, and he won't come back empty-handed. Amen? Amen, my friend. I just find it humorous when I see people complain about Chris Greer. To me, it makes zero sense to complain about Greer when he's done a hell of a job. The team is a contending team. You're one of the better teams in the AFC. You actually have a chance to win the AFC East. You have a chance to go to the playoffs and make a run in the playoffs. You've got the best coach you've had in the last 2 decades. You've got the best quarterback you've had since Marino. And it's the best team you've had in over 20 years. I don't know. I think he's doing a pretty damn good job. What can I tell you? Okay. And remember, you can make a Bitcoin donation on Cash App or Venmo. Ohio John also puts on a super chat. When's the last time a Dolphins team has been this fast? Early Marino years with Clayton and Duper. That's it. And that team is not even as fast as this one. They didn't have the running backs with the speed, and they didn't have those tight ends that they've got right now that I don't know if either one is going to make the team. But if either, Tanner Connor or Higgins makes the team, you're going to have speed at that tight end spot too. But adding a chain with Mostert, they didn't have that in the Marino days, that kind of speed. And can I tell you something? I don't believe they're done at tight end. I asked Marcel that, and he thinks they're done. I don't believe that. I think there's something out there that they're working on. Somebody somewhere, maybe on somebody's roster. But I think there's another move that they're working on. I got to think that. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong 1,000 times before. Big O, there's a free Heimlich course at TD Center today. It's a good one. I like it. Jamesville says, Big O, I went back and watched your show after the Bills Week 3 game. Hope to see many more shows like that one this year. You will. Dude, I could argue they should have won all 3 games against the Bills. This team's made a lot of progress. Miami's never played the Bills the way they played them this year. And they were all injured up and everything and still took them to the brink in the playoffs. If Miami is healthy, they got a shot to win this division. Okay? In fact, I'm predicting they win this division. But you'll see. You shall see. We all miss Sean Stanley. You damn right. He'll be back, bro. He'll be back. I promise you he'll be back. And thank you all out there for sending some love to Sean. Let's see. What else do we have? Can you imagine if Marino had a defense this loaded with these weapons on offense? Everything comes down now to the O-line staying healthy and playing well. Amen. You are 1,000% right, my friend. Big O, I'd like to see a race between Hill, Waddle, Mostert, and a chain. Me too. Me too. I think it would be a lot of fun. Maple Leaf series is going to be crazy. Well, listen, if it's half as crazy as the Boston one, then yeah, it's going to be awesome. Bobby Beathard and Greer. I remember the speed talk in the Ted Ginn days, though, too. But that's just Ted Ginn. We've never had anything like this. I've been around most Dolphin teams since I was a child. We've never had anything like this at all. I've never seen this much speed on one team. We still have the June 1st cuts coming. Eric, that's why I don't believe they're done at tight end. I believe there's one more shot for something else out there. Okay? Not sure what it is, but I got to think there's something else that they're not talking about and they're focused in on. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, I don't really have much information. Anyway. Sean is doing better. Not well enough yet to get out of the hospital. We're hoping it's today or tomorrow that he's able to get out of the hospital. So thank you for asking. All right, Samuel. Let's see. Big O, good afternoon from Super V. Dolphin fans, ask yourself this question and answer it honestly. Do you feel like the Dolphins can beat any team that they play? I do. Healthy? Hell yeah. We got Vic Fangio now running the defense. Mike McDaniel running the offense. Hells to the yeah. Wasn't a Chain the fastest player in the nation coming out of high school? I don't know, but he's definitely one of the fastest players in college football. So, yeah. He's speed demon, dude. Big O, someone posted this dumb comment on Facebook that Hill and Waddle saved Tua's job last season. Well, you already know it's stupid, so, you know, what can I tell you, bro? Tyreek is track fast and football fast. I don't know who beats him in a foot race. Yeah, I would still take Tyreek. There's no doubt. So a Chain was the fastest running back and the third fastest player at the combine. There you go. There you go. The kid can play. The kid's going to be a hell of a weapon coming out of the backfield. I understand exactly what they're trying to do, and it makes all the sense in the world. And I got to see a lineup with a Chain and Mostert coming out of the backfield and Waddle and Hill. Oh, God. That's the twin turbo lineup, dude. Because you've got twin turbos on each side. Because the running backs come out from each side, and you got Hill and Waddle. That's your twin turbo offense right there, baby. Twin turbo jets on each side. That's it. Be fantastic. So, Big O, who do you want the Dolphins to play week 1? Kansas City. Thursday night, Kansas City in Kansas City, and beat their ass. That's what I want to happen. How do you like them apples? That would be fantastic. Make my dreams come true. That's what I say. So great win by the Heat. And again, reminder for the Knicks fans out there, just want to, you know, I don't like repeating material, but just in case you're just tuning in now, you weren't tuning in 3 hours ago, you can listen to the rant then. But I just want to remind you, Knicks fans and your Knicks team, you don't matter. Okay? Just want you to know that. You don't matter. Okay? You've done nothing for well over 20 years. You've barely made an impact in this league at all. Okay, you've been the dregs of the NBA. There is no rivalry with the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat is a superior organization by hundreds and thousands of miles. Okay? Let's just get that straight. In order to make anything a rivalry, both teams have to win and win significant. You want a couple of regular season games. That doesn't mean anything. I get it. You idiots celebrate getting to the playoffs and you print shirts for beating the Cavs. In Miami, a playoff win is just a playoff win. Winning a playoff series is nothing. Here, they go for titles. Here, you don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's a disappointment. So, again, I want to remind you, Knicks fans, you've won nothing. You're just like a middle-of-the-road team that's made the playoffs 2 years in a row. That's it. But in order to become a rivalry, you'll have to start winning significantly. And you'll have to, thoroughly beat the Heat all the time and win things. You haven't done anything. There is no rival. You are not a rival of the Miami Heat. You don't belong in the same sentence with the Miami Heat. You don't belong in the same mention as organization. Nothing. Your ownership, your leadership, your head coach, your team, none of it could ever be compared to Miami. Miami is a superior organization by every stretch that there is, by every fact, by every reality that exists. The last 25 years are 25 years of excellence that has produced all kinds of titles. It's produced all kinds of trips to the NBA Finals. It's produced all kinds of Eastern Conference wins. These are the things that the Knicks never accomplish. So just in case, just to remind you, New York, you are nothing. Okay? You are just a ball of hype out of New York. And you just got a bunch of media members and media hype that talk up something that is nothing. Okay? So I figure I'd have 2 rants in one day to remind the Knicks and their fans that they are nothing until you accomplish some things out there. Okay? And in the last 20 years plus, you haven't accomplished anything whatsoever. Patrick Ewing's not coming through that door. Anthony Mason's not coming through that door. John Starks is not coming through that door. Pat Riley's not coming through that door. Jeff Van Gundy hanging on somebody's leg isn't coming through that door. None of that is happening. So since none of that is happening, you mean nothing. Okay? Just a reminder. And you guys should just bottle that last rant there and send it to your New York friends. Okay? When you see it on YouTube and, record it with your phone and send it to your Knicks friends so they understand that they are nothing. Okay? Let's make sure we tell them that so they understand. Because you know how they are. Those Knicks fans and those Jets fans, they don't accomplish shit. And they win 3 games and they think they're winning a title. It's the most hilarious shit in the world. Being a Knicks and a Jets fan, since nothing ever happens, you never win anything, you never accomplish anything. So you're so dying to whatever happens, you then overblow everything that you do. You sign one player and you think you're the second coming. So I've got to kind of remind you what you are. You're the Knicks, bro. You're nothing. Also remember the Knicks, we're going to sign Katie and Kyrie. Yeah, and they're going to dominate the NBA and all of that. And, the Knicks and the Jets, they win everything all the time. They just accomplish so much. Those fan bases are so, they're so full of themselves. It's really two jokes of a fan base. The Knicks and the Jets. My God, I've never seen a group of individuals. I'm not putting Heat fans. I don't put Giants in there. Giant fans are classy. Giant fans are they're normal human beings. Jet fans are not normal, and Knicks fans are not normal. Okay, those people are abnormal. Or in young Frankenstein's case, abnormal. I just lost 98% of you. 2% of you did laugh at that joke. But the rest of you are like, huh? Abnormal. We could end up with 3 or 4, but I don't think they'll schedule 3 or 4. Maybe we get flexed later in the day, you mean, or in the season. You talk about primetime games. Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to get definitely a couple. If Rangers lose tonight and there's an A. Rodgers sighting, he might be a bad omen. Giants have actually won something and they can hang. No, but it's not so much that. Have you met a Giants fans on average? Obviously, they're jerk fans in every fan base. But Giants fans on average are normal human beings. It's like Jets fans on average, they're idiots. It's a completely different fan base, one from the other. Okay? Serious. I'm not joking at all. My face, does it seem like a joke right now? I'm telling you, Giant fans look normal. Jet fans, most of them just act like idiots. That's just kind of the way it goes. I don't know why. It's the weirdest thing. They live in the same state. They hang out in the same city. But you meet Giants fans on average, and they're decent, normal human beings. You meet Jet fans, and they're crazed, foolish, idiotic maniacs. It's weird. Bradster says, I laugh, Big O. I'm old enough to remember young Frankenstein. Oh, man. Mark says, the Giants fans I know are good dudes. I don't know any Jets fans and don't want to because they suck. My friends that are Giants fans are very cordial and not showboats. I know. I'm telling you, on average, every fan base has jerks, okay? But on average, Giant fans are very normal. They're just normal human beings. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. I'd love for a New Yorker to actually explain to me why the hell that is. Why is that the case with those two fan bases, that they are polar opposites? I can't tell. Willie says, I have Giants fans that are civilized. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, if you really look at it, more often than not, Giants fans are normal people. Yeah, Jets, exactly, Doug. Jets fans have abnormal brains. You are correct. Igor. Brett Dodger goes, Big O, I also recall those nice knockers on Young Frankenstein. Yes. That's a movie that you cannot make nowadays, right? You can't make Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein, and those are movies that are, may not get the right kind of reviews in today's world. I think you're onto something here with the Jets and Giants. It's like a litmus test. No, Mike, this is like a known fact forever. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know what's in the water. I don't know what happened to Jets fans compared to Giants fans. I don't know what it is. Maybe when you're born and they look at you and they go, this guy's kind of crazy. Okay, make him a Jets fan. Oh, this kid looks normal. Make him a Giants fan. I don't know what it is. New Yorkers would have to explain to me what it is, why Giants fans on average are normal, and why Jets fans are abnormal or abnormal on average. It's the weirdest thing. Big O story, I bet 50 cents in 86 in second grade, Miami versus Jets Monday night. Woo! And you won the 50 cent. So you got yourself a whole bunch of 2-cent candies there, 2-cent bubble gums. Jets and Mets have the same fan base. Yankees and Giants are the same fan bases. It's weird. Seems like it's the classy part of New York. That's kind of where people gravitate to. Jason. A lot of people gravitate to the same kind of reasoning. One fan base is class, the other one is low class. A lot of people say that. Yeah. So in other words, Jets fans are the people that have bad credit, but we're giving them good rates. Giants fans are the ones that actually pay their bills, have great credit, but we're going to give them a shitty rate. Okay, I got it now. John says, Big O, I think Fireman Ed is Abby Normal. Yes, you are correct, Mike. That Young Frankenstein Blazing Saddles, that was an era where we could still laugh at ourselves and people were not easily offended. Amen. Amen. Nothing wrong with laughing at yourself. Dougie Fresh says you can never make Bad News Bears team sponsored by Chico's bail bonds again. A coach who drinks during games and gets minors drunk has minors dropping N-bombs. Oh yeah. Yeah, Tanner will not be accepted in today's world at all. Okay? No. Not at all. Musa Hamadeh, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says Michael Rappaport acted like they won the finals first half, then went ghost second half. New York Brick fans are the Dylan Brooks of fan bases. Oh, I didn't see Rappaport, but yeah, Rappaport is a character. So he was also going off on the Knicks in the first half. Give me a break. You shouldn't have, right? Because they had the big lead, and didn't they cut it to like 5? And they kind of kept it like after all that buzz, they kind of cut it down. I want to say it was a 5-point lead at halftime. And you're like, okay, they brought it back to striking distance. They're right there. And sure enough, they took hold in the second half and it was over. Again, it's the Knicks. Who are the Knicks? You know what I mean? That's why when this series started, I said, this is a very winnable series for Miami. This isn't like look, Miami got the break of all breaks. Giannis gets injured, and then to Miami's credit, they took care of business. They split the first 2 games, and then when Giannis came back, they beat Giannis's ass twice. So you got to give them credit. You know what I'm saying? But the opportunity was there, and Miami capitalized on that opportunity and got it done. That's all you can do, man. Big O, in your opinion, what is the greatest Iron Maiden album? Number of the Beast, man. Number of the Beast is the best. I go Peace of Mind number 2, but Number of the Beast for me is my number 1 album. Now, some people tell you Peace of Mind, some people tell you Power Slave. It all depends. It's kind of a subjective thing, Big O, Beat Street, and Rocksteady Crew are the best things out of New York. Okay. Can we give the Sugar Hill Gang a little love? From a Dolphins fan's perspective, the Giants win championship and make playoffs. The Jets don't win anything and just butthurt and act like a-holes. That kind of describes them. Yeah. Andrew Dice Clay doesn't survive nowadays. No. Tanner would be at one of those juvenile reforms concentration camps. I knew when we cut it down to 5, we were going to win that game. I didn't say, Jean, I didn't say that they were going to win the game, but when they cut it down to 5, I was like, okay, they're in it. They got a shot now. They put themselves right there to do whatever they want in the second half, and that's exactly what they did. By the way, don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. It is very important that you smash the like button, okay? Knicks fans will use the excuse Randall was injured, yet we will not bring up the fact that they were only down by 3 when Jimmy got injured and still lost, and 3 players also fouled out, and Tyler Hero's not playing. Whatever, dude. And they have the home court advantage. None of that matters to me. Okay? Just like the Giannis thing. Giannis got injured, right? But he came back. Now, if you would have won the games without Giannis and then you lose all the games with Giannis, then that doesn't look good for you, right? But what did Miami do? They beat Giannis twice. Doesn't get better than that. And that's where that one disappears. You know what I mean? So the Knicks don't have anything to stand on. Like I said, they're not that good. Okay? They're nothing special. That's why they've got to worry about Julius Randle, because they're just a team. They're nothing special. Whereas look at Miami. They lose guys. Guys get injured. Guys foul out. Your star gets injured. And they still find a way to close it out and win the game. I can't help you. Dude, they just beat the Bucks. It's a lot better than beating the Cavs. And that's the problem with the Knicks. The Knicks beat the Cavs and they think they've arrived. That's hilarious. You beat the Cavs and you think you've arrived. You're printing shirts and shit because you're moving on to the second round. It's pathetic, dude. Typical Knicks, typical Jets. Don't accomplish anything, go overboard with anything. So, should Spo give Jimmy tomorrow off, send him home to heal, and be ready to play here at home? What's your take? By the way, the Bucks are a lot better than the Knicks. Yes, they are. I would give them the rest. The only thing is that these guys, that's not who they are. Crazy bastards will play, bro. Yeah, I think it makes sense because you already stole the home court advantage. And without Jimmy, oh my God, the pressure goes up 1,000% on the Knicks because everybody will say, oh, they got to win. Can you imagine if the Heat finds a way to win without Jimmy? That would be really bad for the Knicks. But yeah, you're probably right resting him now because it gives him almost a week's rest. We'll see. We'll see what they do. Let's see. Remember when the Knicks won 1 game against the Hawks in that series a few years ago and thought they were winning it all? Yep. EJ Barros said, oh, I missed the 70s. The days when you could call a spade a spade. Yep. Those were the days. Yes, they were. All right, we hope that Sean Stanley gets better, folks, and hopefully we could get him back either tomorrow or the next day. Not exactly sure, but hopefully we will get him there and hopefully back and healthy. He is still in the hospital. I'm not going to talk about what's going on. That's his job to do if he wants to talk about it. But I know that it's not an easy thing. So stay positive. Keep Sean Stanley in your prayers. And let's hope that we get him back, shortly. And hopefully by tomorrow or the next day, we get him back. We'll see you tomorrow. We thank Ira Winderman, Alan Poupart, Marcel Louis-Jacques, and David Dwork. See you tomorrow. Same time. Same place, Same bat channel.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.